What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. These villagers don't care for anyone but themselves. Naruto thought bitterly to himself as he stood atop a light pole watching the village. It was about midnight and not a cloud was in sight, thus allowing the moon to illuminate everything around Naruto. He glared at the few villagers who were still awake. And now that Sasuke is gone, there's nobody else like me in the village for them to shun. Naruto glared up at the Hokage monument that now had Tsunade's face carved into it, but that wasn't where he was glaring. His eyes were on the fourth Hokage's face. After previously learning from a slip-up, on Tsunade's drunken part, about who his father was, he hated him. The fourth Hokage was Naruto's father and he hadn't been happy about it. In fact, he grew angry after he heard Tsunade accidentally say something about the fourth being his father. He even tossed the sake bottle in front of Tsunade at her head before storming out. Tsunade luckily dodged before the bottle hit her and was about to yell at Naruto before she realized what she had said. She sat back down and put her face in her hands. Jiraiya tried to console the boy but to no avail. Naruto simply lashed out, throwing a Rasengan at his teacher who easily dodged. Naruto then ran back to his apartment and locked his door before running to his bedroom and laid on his bed and cried. He had been trying to bottle everything up inside of him but couldn't hold anymore. After his best friend left the village, found out who his father was, and then nearly killed by Hiashi for defending Hinata the way he did, Naruto couldn't handle it anymore. Now Naruto had his backpack hanging on the pole he was standing on as he watched the village. Tonight I will never see this village again until I come back to destroy it. Naruto thought with a small hint of regret that he easily shoved aside. Sure, he had friends here and he would make them an offer to join him before he destroyed everything, and if they refused he would kill them all. He grabbed his pack and slung it across his back before jumping down to the ground. Naruto began to walk towards the gate leading out of the village. As he walked he didn't notice a presence behind him. Before he got to the gate he stopped, finally noticing somebody was following him. "You can come out now. I know you're following me," Naruto said as he slid a kunai slightly out of its holster. He turned to see who was behind him. "Naruto-kun, where are you going?" the person asked timidly. "Hinata, what are you doing out here?" Naruto asked, slightly taken aback. He let the kunai drop back into the holster. She stepped out from behind a tree she was standing behind. Her face was illuminated by the moonlight, revealing the black eye she had. Naruto's anger flared as he remembered what had happened to her. Naruto was walking home from the hospital after having recovered from his fight with Sasuke when he passed by the Hyuga estate. He wanted to thank Hinata for coming to see him when he was in the hospital, so he went up to the gate. "What's your business here?" one of the Hyuga guards asked. "I'd like to see Hinata-chan and thank her for visiting me in the hospital," Naruto said to him. The other guard looked at the first one and they both shrugged. They didn't see any problem with it, so they let Naruto enter. He asked around and quickly found out where Hinata's room was. He knocked when he got there. "Just a moment," Hinata called from inside. The door slid open shortly after to reveal her wearing a tank top and shorts. She blushed when she saw Naruto and then quickly shut the door before he could speak. Naruto could hear a lot of rustling before the door opened again to reveal Hinata wearing her usual jacket and a pair of black capris. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you, otherwise I would have put something else on before opening," she quietly apologized, bowing her head. "It's alright Hinata-chan," Naruto said, smiling and putting his hand on her shoulder. "It's nice to see you wearing something casual once in a while." Her blush deepened. What did you need, Naruto-kun?" she asked, poking her fingers together. "I wanted to thank you for visiting me when I was in the hospital," he said, smiling, blushing a little himself. "And I was wondering if I could treat you to some ramen." "You mean like a date?" she stuttered, her blush going an even deeper shade of red. "Would you like it to be?" Naruto blushed deeper himself when she said that. When she didn't answer he grew sad. "But if you don't want to, I understand," he said sadly. "I would love to, Naruto-kun," she said quietly, smiling. Naruto grinned at her. "Then let's go." "And now?" Hinata asked, shocked by the suddenness. "Yeah." Naruto grabbed her hand and began to pull her to the exit of the mansion. She barely had enough time to slide her door shut before she and Naruto were almost running down the halls towards the exit. They got to the exit and quickly slipped their shoes on before going out the door. Naruto lead Hinata through the streets to Ichiraku Ramen with her blushing the entire time due to the fact that he was still holding her hand. They soon arrived at Ichiraku and went it. "Welcome, Tucci," the owner and head chef called. "Oh Naruto. The usual?" he asked when he saw who it was that entered the restaurant. "Definitely. What would you like, Hinata?" "The beef and shrimp ramen is my favorite, but the miso ramen and chicken ramen are good too. Then there's a lot of things you can add to it too," Naruto told her, grinning as he sat down. Hinata sat beside him before answering. "I'll have what you have, Naruto-kun," she said shyly. "Yosh, 2 shrimp and beef ramens, please," Naruto said loudly. Tucci smiled, shaking his head. Ayame giggled from the back of the store as she began preparing the ramen. After she finished, Tucci placed the ramen in front of the two of them. "Enjoy," he said, smiling. Naruto and Hinata both said a silent prayer before Naruto dug straight into the ramen with his chopsticks. Hinata took a more subtle approach when she began eating. It was forced onto her growing up in high-class family like hers. Naruto quickly finished eating while Hinata was barely at the halfway point. "Well, how is it, Hinata-chan?" he asked eagerly. "It's really good," Hinata smiled as she slurped some noodles. Naruto grinned, happy that she was enjoying the meal. After she finished and Naruto had paid, the two left to head back to the Hyuga estate. They talked the entire time walking back. When they got back to the estate, Hiyashi Hyuga was standing outside the gate. His face covered in fury when he saw Hinata with Naruto. He didn't want his daughter associating with a low-class kid, especially the one housing the Kyuubi inside of him. "Hinata," he yelled at her when they approached. "Why are with that boy?" Hiyashi glared angrily at Naruto. "He took me out for lunch," she said timidly, bowing her head and hiding slightly behind Naruto. Hiyashi approached the two of them quickly. Naruto stood in front of Hinata fully but was backhanded into a building by Hiyashi, who proceeded to smack his daughter across the face, making her fall back. "I thought I told you to never associate with the scum of the village," he yelled. Hinata cringed on the ground as her father yelled. "Hey, don't treat her that way," Naruto yelled as he charged towards Hiyashi. Hiyashi sidestepped, allowing him to send a gentle fist attack into the back of Naruto's right shoulder. Naruto fell to the ground and slowly picked himself up, making few hand seals before trying to make a shadow clone. "That won't work, scum. I've completely cut off chakra circulation to your right arm," Hiyashi said matter-of-factually. Naruto just growled in response before charging at Hiyashi again. Naruto swung his fist at Hiyashi, who easily slapped the fist away. Hiyashi kicked Naruto in the gut, sending the boy hurtling into a building again before falling face first on the ground. Hiyashi turned and grabbed his daughter before she could run to Naruto. "You will leave him lie there," he yelled at her before turning to walk back inside the mansion. Just then a blast of wind almost knocked Hiyashi to the ground. He turned to see Naruto standing. His eyes were no longer the shade of blue they usually were but red with a slit for the pupil. The 6 whisker-shaped marks grew darker on Naruto's cheeks and his nails and teeth grew sharper. Naruto growled before charging Hiyashi again. Hiyashi pushed his daughter to the side before activating his Byakugan and settling into a gentle fist stance. Naruto swung his fist towards Hiyashi, who dodged. Naruto kept attacking wildly before getting kicked in the face. He was sent flying back but recovered sliding on all fours on the ground. Naruto stood up and created a shadow clone, then held out his right palm to it. The clone began circulating chakra in the open palm, forming a Rasengan. "Don't you ever lay another hand on Hinata like that," Naruto said dangerously. Hiyashi just stood there watching Naruto. The clone charged forward first to provide a distraction. Hiyashi quickly disposed of the clone in a cloud of smoke before turning to see Naruto in the air above him. His arm with the Rasengan extended towards Hiyashi. "Rasengan!" Naruto yelled as he fell through the air. Hiyashi glared at Naruto before quickly grabbing his wrist and snapping it, thus dispersing the attack completely. Naruto yelled out in pain as he felt his wrist break. Hiyashi then slapped his palm on Naruto's lungs, causing them to shut down. Hiyashi threw Naruto in the air above him. He waited until Naruto began his descent before attacking again. 8 trigrams palm rotation. Hiyashi yelled and began to spin rapidly. Naruto collided with the shield of chakra and was sent flying through the air and smashing through the wall of one of the nearby buildings. Naruto-kun, Hinata screamed. No. She got up and started to run to him. She was stopped by her father, who smacked her again. I told you to never associate with scum like that, he yelled before grabbing her wrist and taking her inside the Hyuga estate. She cried the entire time, saying Naruto's name over and over. And Anbu, who had been ordered to find Naruto when Tsunade sensed the Kyuubi's chakra, quickly retrieved the unconscious Naruto and took him to the hospital. When they arrived there, Tsunade quickly did an assessment on Naruto before starting her work. She quickly healed his lungs, causing Naruto to gasp and wake up as the air filled his lungs. She held him down as Naruto struggled to get up and go kick Hiashi's ass. But his efforts were futile against the legendary sitting duck Tsunade. Damn it, Naruto. Hold still so I can heal your wrist. Tsunade yelled at him. Naruto calmed down, but not before cursing Hiashi under his breath. Tsunade quickly healed his broken wrist. What happened anyway? She asked curiously. She listened intently as Naruto relayed what happened. He looked at her with tears in his eyes when he finished. How can he treat her that way? She was so frightened when he almost killed me. Why can't he see that it hurts her when he acts the way he does? Why? Naruto yelled as Tsunade embraced him in a motherly, sisterly hug. Naruto cried hard as Tsunade hugged him. I don't know, Naruto. I truly don't, she said. Naruto calmed himself down before she spoke again. How is your eye, Hinata-chan? He asked. It's okay. Hurts a little every now and then, but I'm okay, Hinata said quietly, also remembering the incident. That's good. Now why are you out here? Naruto asked. To find you, she said looking at him. Why are you out here, Naruto-kun? I'm leaving this village. I can't stand being here anymore. My best friend is gone. I found out that my father was the 4th Hokage, and I was almost killed by your father for trying to protect you. Finding out my father was the 4th Hokage wouldn't have been such a bad thing if it wasn't for the fact that it was him that sealed the Kyuubi inside of me. Naruto said bitterly. Why you're leaving? Hinata asked shocked. A few tears fell down her cheeks. But you can't leave. What about all your friends? Sakura only cares about Sasuke. Kakashi is busy all the time. Iruka is teaching academy students, and you're not allowed to be near me. And then everyone else is busy with missions. I'm not needed here anymore, he said before turning back to the village gate. His eyes widened when he felt a pair of arms wrapping around him. I need you here, Naruto-kun, Hinata sobbed quietly. You can't leave me here. Naruto turned and looked down at Hinata. Her eyes were staring up into his as tears fell. I hate to see you cry, he said softly, wiping a tear from her cheek with the back of her hand. But I still have to go, he told her, turning to walk away, but was stopped again when Hinata grabbed his hand. He turned to her. Let go of me, Hinata-chan. His voice was firm but not angry. Hinata mumbled something under her breath. What? Naruto asked, turning his head slightly. Take me with you, she said, barely audible. I can't, he almost yelled. I can't take you with me. It's going to be very dangerous, he tried reasoning with her. That doesn't matter to me, she said loudly. I'd be willing to die fighting with you because, she began to blush deeply. Because I love you. Naruto's eyes widened when she said that. His thoughts ran wild. What? His voice caught in his throat. I said that I love you, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, wrapping her arms around him and nuzzling her face into his chest. It was Naruto's turn to blush deeply now. And I will always love you. Even if I die, her voice was muffled. You love me? He asked. She merely nodded in his chest. Naruto sighed, knowing he wouldn't be able to convince her otherwise to stay. I really don't want you to come with me and get hurt, but you'll just follow me. Won't you? He asked, lifting her chin so he could look into her eyes. Yes I would, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. And if you tried to force me to leave, you wouldn't be able to. I would never stop following you. A few tears fell down her face as she spoke. Naruto sighed. Do you even know what I'm leaving to go do? He asked, hoping her could get her to stay with one more push. Hinata shook her head and watched him. I'm going to destroy this place, Naruto said calmly, causing Hinata to gasp slightly but never moving from where she stood. Didn't you hear me? I said I'm going to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village, Naruto told her again. Hinata was shocked to hear this come from Naruto. The boy who would always shrug off the way people had treated him. The boy who always had a smile on his face. The boy that she loved. Now this same boy was talking of destroying their home. Hinata stared into Naruto's eyes, his words going through her head over and over again. I am never, she started shakily, then made her voice firmer, I'm never going to leave you. Her eyes full of determination now. Naruto looked at her, not believing what she just said. He sighed again, defeated. He knew he was never going to be able to convince her to stay here. Fine, you can come along, he said. Hinata's face lit up slightly before going back over to the tree she was previously hiding behind and grabbed her pack. Then let's go, she said, smiling at him. She grabbed his hand as they left the village quickly and quietly. They leapt through the trees outside the village, not saying a word until they were several miles away. By the way, Naruto-kun, where are we going? Hinata asked him as they leapt through the trees. I'm going to find the Akatsuki, Naruto told her, causing a small gasp to emit from her lips. They are all powerful and I'm sure they would agree to the terms I have. He ended the conversation with that. Naruto-kun, what changed you? Hinata thought to herself. Days passed as they traveled, only stopping to rest and eat. They avoided towns as much as possible until they heard of strange men wearing black cloaks with what looked like red clouds on it being in a town from an out-of-the-way tea house. The town, Garuna, was only a couple days from where they were. It would be the perfect place to start looking. Once they had left the tea house, the duo went straight for Garuna. Naruto and Hinata quickly reached Garuna, eager to begin their search. They had removed their headbands so nobody could tell where they were from before entering the town. Also, before going much further into the town, they had purchased a couple of black cloaks with hoods to hide their faces. Naruto went to an inn while Hinata searched through the town. Welcome, what can I do for you? The clerk at the inn asked Naruto, who still had his hood up. I was wondering if there had been two men here recently. They would have been wearing black cloaks with red clouds on them, Naruto said, sliding some ryo across the counter to the clerk. The clerk grabbed the money and then seemed to remember the men Naruto was talking about. Ah yes, I know who you are talking about, the clerk said. But they left yesterday. Sorry buddy. Naruto bowed. Thank you very much. He then left to go find Hinata. She was busy walking through the shopping district asking some weapons merchants about them. I remember seeing somebody like that, Missy. But they were simply walking through the area. I think they went to the other end of town, a weapons dealer told her. Thank you, she bowed before leaving. Byakugan, she said quietly, activated her eyes. She began to search for Naruto, quickly finding him walking down the same street she was on. She deactivated her eyes and quickly made her way through the crowd to her companion. Find anything, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked when they met up. A weapons merchant said they were heading to the other end of town yesterday, she told him. Same for me. The clerk at the inn said they had left yesterday, he said to her. Then we'd better hurry, Hinata said, turning to walk out of town, but was stopped when Naruto grabbed her hand. Hang on, we've got company. Can you activate your eyes and find out who's following us? Naruto asked her. Hinata nodded. Byakugan. She quickly scanned the area around them, finding 4 figures in 4 strategic locations. There's 4 of them, 2 on the rooftops on either side of the street, while a third is 10 yards behind us. The 4th is ahead of us. Only one of them seems to be over Genin level. We should proceed with caution, she warned Naruto, deactivating her eyes. Naruto nodded as they began to walk again, keeping their hoods up. They quickly go to the end of town before leaping off into the trees. The 4 people following them doing the same. Naruto and Hinata stopped in a clearing far enough away from the town so it wouldn't get caught in the inevitable battle. Get ready, Naruto said to Hinata as they stood back to back. Hinata nodded, her eyes active once again. Here they come, she said. Cha! A female voice yelled as she burst through the trees, swinging her fist into the ground between Naruto and Hinata. The 2 of them quickly leapt away from the pink-haired Kanuchi. Fang over fang. Another voice yelled, as a spinning attack came flying towards Naruto. Naruto dodged, only to be knocked back by a kick from a green blur. Leaf Hurricane, the blur yelled. Naruto flew towards a tree and landed with his feet on it, using chakra to keep him from falling. Hinata dodged some kunai sent sailing in her direction. She quickly blocked a roundhouse kick from behind before pushing her opponent away and then regrouping with Naruto. The 4 other people regrouped in front of the duo. Sakura, Kiba, Lee, and Kakashi-sensei. What are you all doing here? Naruto asked quietly. To take the two of you back to the village. You have left and are now considered rogue ninjas that are either to be brought back by force or killed by order of the Hokage, Kakashi said solemnly. If you just cooperate with us, we won't have to hurt either of you. Naruto stared coldly at them. I'm never going back to a village that hates me until I destroy it. Naruto yelled, creating 6 shadow clones. And I will follow Naruto-kun even if I die. Hinata said strongly before charging with the Naruto clones to attack. Kakashi closed his eye, a single tear falling. I failed my entire team. And now I'm forced to attack the one I never thought would turn out like this, he thought to himself before lifting his headband to reveal his Sharingan. The real Naruto and a clone attacked Kakashi while 2 clones attacked Sakura, another 2 attacked Lee, and the other clone and Hinata attacked Kiba and Akamaru. Hinata, stop this, Kiba yelled with Akamaru barking acknowledgement. I won't, not if it means to go against Naruto-kun, she said, sending her palm at Kiba, who quickly dodged back. Damn it, I really didn't want to have to fight her, Kiba said before blocking a kick from the Naruto clone. An explosion ripped through the field as Sakura yelled. A Rasengan sending her flying into a tree, knocking her unconscious. Sakura, Kakashi yelled, holding off an overhead kick from Naruto while sending his own kick to the clone. The clone caught the kick and flung Kakashi away and towards a tree. Kakashi quickly regained himself but was then engaged by the other 2 clones. He now had 4 opponents to worry about. Leaf Hurricane, Lee yelled as he ducked under a punch from both clones. His kick hit each clone in the head and turned to go help Kakashi, but was stopped by the real Naruto. With Rasengan in hand, Naruto shoved it forward into Lee's arms. He was sent flying back through the trees and knocked unconscious. He would probably suffer only a broken arm from that, as Naruto didn't want to kill any of them here and now. He turned to Hinata and ran forwards, blocking a spinning attack from Akamaru, now transformed into Kiba, that would have collided with her back. Get away from her, he yelled, and he made a couple more clones to fight with. The 3 of them then began to attack Akamaru in Kiba's form. A punch from the real Naruto sent Akamaru flying into Kiba, knocking them both down. Akamaru was unconscious and being held by Kiba. Akamaru, Kiba yelled. He glared at Naruto before lunging forward, forgetting about Hinata. She sent a palm into Kiba's back before whirling around and kicked him in the side of the head. Kiba was sent flying over by Akamaru, trying to keep consciousness but failing. His vision went black as the passed out. The duo then turned to Kakashi, who had just finished destroying the clones he was facing. Now all that remained was Naruto, Hinata, a couple of clones, and Kakashi. Naruto, Hinata, I don't want to hurt either one of you, but I will if you don't come back with me now, he said firmly. You'll have to kill us, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said calmly. I'm never going back to a village that hates me. He yelled and held out his hand to the clones, who began to shape Rasengans in each hand. Kakashi closed his eyes and bowed his head sadly. I'm sorry I failed you, Naruto. I'm sorry I only focused on training Sasuke instead of you and Sakura. And now I'm sorry that it has come to this. Kakashi made a few hand seals before charging chakra into his palms. A few tears slid down his cheeks as he looked upon Naruto. Naruto couldn't help but let a few tears fall himself before regaining his composure. He charged forward at his sensei, who in turn charged back. Twin Rasengan, Lightning Blade, 2-hit thrust. Both attacks collided, neither one of them were going to give in. Naruto and Kakashi's eyes locked for a moment, each one of them sending many different emotions to the other. I'm sorry, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said as Hinata appeared behind Kakashi, her palms coated in chakra. Her first hit smashed into his right shoulder, causing the attacks to disappear from his hands. She then quickly attacked both of his legs with her gentle fist. Kakashi faltered and fell to his knees. Hinata leapt back to stand by Naruto as Naruto stepped forward, no longer holding Rasengan in his hands. Naruto squatted down to Kakashi's level. He took off the necklace he had won from Tsunade when they first met. Give this back to Granny. Tell her I don't deserve to have it with me anymore, he said, placing it in Kakashi's pocket before standing. Naruto, don't do this. You're better than this. What happened to my student that wanted nothing more than becoming the Hokage? Kakashi asked, looked at his student. He's gone. He realized that he could never earn the respect of the villagers or anyone else ever. "I'm sorry, it has to be this way, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said, and he raised his fist and brought it down hard onto Kakashi's jaw, knocking him out. Naruto looked at the four of them, before turning to Hinata. "Come on, let's move them so they aren't so spread out like this," he said, picking up Kakashi. Hinata quickly helped support his weight as they pulled him over to the tree Sakura was up against. They quickly got Kiba and Akamaru over there and had an extremely hard time dragging Lee closer, due to the amount of weights he was wearing. "Man, he really needs to quit wearing these weights all the time," Naruto groaned as they finally got Lee over by the others. The two of them looked at their former comrades for a moment before turning to leap off into the trees again. It was then that they noticed two very strong unfamiliar presences in the clearing. They looked over and saw two black cloaks with red clouds. "Naruto Uzumaki, we are going to bring you with us whether you want to or not," the first one said. "Itachi Uchiha," Naruto said calmly. "And Kisame Hoshigaki, right?" They merely nodded at him before leaping into action. "Wait," Hinata yelled. "We don't want to fight you." The two Akatsuki members stopped before they officially began their attack. "We actually have a proposition for you," Naruto said. "But it's better left said behind closed doors and not in the open like this. There's a town a few miles south of Garuna. Let's go there and talk about it, shall we? What do you think, Itachi?" Kisame asked. "It could be a trap. Judging from what these two just did to their comrades there, I don't think it's a trap." "We'll meet you there," Itachi said before disappearing. Kisame scoffed before disappearing as well. Naruto and Hinata looked at each other. "Let's go," Naruto said. Hinata nodded and they left in the direction of the town after pulling their hoods back up. "Do you think they will agree to it?" Hinata asked him. Naruto shrugged. "I doubt it. It'll be too good of an offer that they won't be able to resist," he told her as they jumped through the trees. "What is it anyway, Naruto-kun?" she asked. "You'll find out when we meet them." "Okay, Naruto-kun." They continued to leap through the trees in silence. After about 30 minutes they arrived at the next town. "Let's find the inn so we can meet with Itachi and Kisame," Naruto said. His stomach grumbled, but not before getting something to eat. "What would you like, Hinata-chan?" I really love cinnamon rolls," she said quietly, her shy self coming back to the surface. "Yosh, then let's find some." Naruto grinned at her as they began walking through the town to find a bakery. It was pretty easy to find one, since this town flourished on food mostly. Hinata gratefully accepted the cinnamon rolls Naruto had bought her before devouring them the way Naruto ate ramen. He was shocked to see her eat the cinnamon rolls that quickly. "I'm sorry for acting that way, Naruto-kun," she apologized when she saw the shocked look on his face. His shocked look quickly changed to that of a grinning fool. "It's alright, Hinata-chan. It's your favorite food. You should eat it any way you want to," he said encouragingly. She smiled in return before looking up at the sky. She was happy right now, being able to forget everything that was going on for a few moments before Naruto snapped her out of her trance. "Hey Hinata, you still there?" he asked. "Huh?" she asked quickly, blushing slightly when she saw how close Naruto's face was to hers. "I've been saying your name for the last 2 minutes. We should probably head to the inn, nay?" he asked her. Hinata shook her head. "Why yes, we should," she stuttered. Naruto smiled at her and stood up, offering her a hand. Hinata accepted it and Naruto pulled her up from where she was sitting. Naruto accidentally pulled her up a little harder than he had intended, causing their faces to be a mere inch away. Both of them blushed greatly at the closeness before turning to the side in unison. Let's go," Naruto stammered. "Why yes," Hinata replied as they both started to walk towards the inn, the blush never leaving their faces. They arrived at the inn 5 minutes later. "Welcome," the clerk said to them. "How may I be of assistance?" he asked. "We are looking for 2 men, both wearing black cloaks with red patterns on them." "We were told to meet them here," Naruto said. "Ah yes. They will be on the 3rd floor. Room 303. Knock 3 times, then once more they said to me to tell you," the clerk told them. "Thank you," Hinata said as the two of them left to go upstairs. When they got to the room, Naruto knocked 3 times. He waited for a few seconds then knocked once more. The door opened and he and Hinata strode in. Kisame shut the door behind them then placed a seal on the door before going to where he was sitting. Naruto and Hinata both removed their hoods and sat down across from Itachi and Kisame. What's the proposition you have then, Naruto? Itachi said. Alright. Let's not beat around the bush, Naruto said. You want the Kyuubi sealed inside of me, correct? Itachi and Kisame nodded. I want to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village and I believe that the Akatsuki could help me in its destruction, Naruto continued. Or we could just take you out right now and destroy the Hidden Leaf later, Kisame said grabbing his sword, Samahata. I'm not finished, Naruto said calmly, while Hinata grabbed his arm. She was watching Kisame closely. Kisame, let him finish, Itachi said, flaring his Sharingan. Kisame grunted, setting Samahata down, but not letting go of its hilt. I want the Akatsuki to train me and make me strong enough to destroy the Hidden Leaf. Then once I'm finished, you can have the Kyuubi, Naruto finished. Hinata gasped slightly hearing this and Kisame grinned his shark-toothy grin while Itachi remained as passive as ever. The silence seemed to stretch on, the tension so thick a kunai could break it. Itachi shifted his gaze to Hinata. And what of her? He asked breaking the silence. I'm coming with Naruto-kun. I'm going to help him any way I can, she said firmly, squeezing Naruto's arm a little tighter. Itachi watched them both for a moment. We'll see what Pain has to say about it before anything, Itachi said. Let's go now. We have a base close by here. Itachi stood up and walked to the door before making a couple of hand seals causing the seal on the door to burn up. Itachi then left, with Kisame, Naruto, and Hinata following suit. Naruto and Hinata pulled their hoods back up as they left the inn and headed towards the end of town they arrived from. Once out of the town the four of them all leapt into the trees and began to head in the direction of the Akatsuki's base. Itachi and Kisame didn't say a word as they traveled while Hinata chatted between themselves. 4 hours passed by before Itachi and Kisame stopped near a clearing. Are we here? Hinata asked quietly to Itachi. Almost, he said passively. Both him and Kisame walked over to a giant boulder in the middle of the clearing. They each made a single hand seal before placing one palm each on the rock. Slowly it moved to the side to reveal a dark hole with a staircase leading down. Go in first. We will have to close the hole up before we proceed, Itachi said. Naruto and Hinata both nodded, walking down the stairs. Hinata never let go of Naruto's arm as they walked down the stairs a ways before turning to look and see Itachi and Kisame sealing the hole back up. It was dark for a moment, but then light seemed to emit from everywhere even though there were no visible lights anywhere. Itachi walked in front of Naruto and Hinata while Kisame stayed behind. The group all descended down the stairs for what seemed like ages, even though it was only about 20 minutes of walking. Finally they arrived in a large room. You're late, HN. Somebody yelled from across the room. Naruto and Hinata looked around Itachi to see who it was. The man was wearing Akatsuki robes and had long blonde hair tied in a ponytail near the top of his head. His bangs were covering his left eye. And who do you have with you? He asked. The Kyuubi's Jinchuriki and his companion, Deidara, Itachi said. The Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, HN. That's good. But why is there another person with him as well? Deidara asked. They wish to see Pain, Itachi said simply. At that moment a figure materialized out of nowhere. It looked like a hologram of some sort. And why would that be, Itachi? The hologram asked. His voice was kinda staticky. That would be better told when all of us are here. Naruto has a rather interesting proposal, Itachi told him. Very well. There's 6 of you there already. Hidan and Kakuzu are on their way while me and Konan are in rain. We should be there in a couple of days, the hologram said before disappearing. I just hope they aren't late. I hate being kept waiting like this, a new voice said from behind Naruto and Hinata. They turned and saw a man with short red hair walking out of a room. He didn't look any older than 18. Yes, we know Sasori, HN, Deidara said. All of a sudden a plant-like thing rose from the floor and right beside it a figure materialized from out of nowhere. The plant-like thing opened up to reveal a man with green hair and yellow eyes. Down one side of his face it was completely black with no mouth and showing no human-like features, while down the other side it was completely white with more human-like features and a mouth. The other man had short black hair and an orange mask covering all of his face but his right eye. The mask swirled around meeting at the hole created for the eye. And now we wait, the man with the orange mask said in a childish tone. I'm Toby by the way, he said loudly and more energetic than the rest. Kaneteme, the Venus flytrap looking man said. Zetsu, you're no fun, Toby said, standing in a very awkward position for a male to be standing in. Yeah, he's actually pretty funny, Zetsu said. No, he's annoying, Zetsu said. Wait, are you bipolar or something? Naruto asked Zetsu. No, Baka. We are two different people. It seemed like the black side of Zetsu was talking. Yeah, and it's no fun being stuck with somebody as gloomy as him. The white side pointed to the other side. You can always leave, Black Zetsu suggested. White Zetsu just shrugged as Itachi turned to face Naruto and Hinata. The two of you will sleep over there in that room. Itachi pointed to one of the rooms along the wall. You'll find plenty of food in there. There's also a shower. And if you decide to back out on this deal, we won't hesitate to kill the both of you, Itachi said calmly as he walked to one of the rooms and went in. Shutting the door behind him, Toby walked over to Naruto and Hinata. Don't pay him any mind. He's always like that, Toby said energetically. You seem too energetic to be a part of the Akatsuki, Toby-san, Naruto said, eyeing Toby. Toby just laughed. Do I really? He giggled. Everyone else rolled their eyes. Great. He's never gonna shut up, Deidara said, the annoyance heavy in his voice. Hinata giggled slightly, causing Deidara to glare angrily. Got a problem, shrimp, he asked angrily. Hinata cringed behind Naruto, who stood in front of her protectively. Leave her alone, Blondie, Naruto growled. Deidara laughed. Or what, kid? You gonna beat me up, I will if I have to, Naruto glared. Bring it on, Deidara reached into a pouch as Naruto stood ready to fight. Toby placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder to keep him from moving as Zetsu kicked Deidara back into a wall. You're not going to be fighting in here, Deidara, Black Zetsu said dangerously. Naruto looked up at Toby. What are you doing? I can kick his ass, Naruto said angrily. Not likely, Toby's voice was no longer energetic, but much more serious. He's got years of training on you. We all do. So the chances of you beating one of us are slim. And to top it off, the chances of you defeating all of who are gathered here are impossible. Even if you are the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Toby removed his hand from Naruto's shoulder and walked over to one of the rooms. Her turned back to Naruto and Hinata before entering. I would suggest the two of you rest. You probably need it, he said, turning back and entering the room. Deidara had gotten up and walked over to Naruto as Zetsu went into one of the other rooms. One day I'll enjoy the pleasure of killing you, kid, Deidara said to Naruto. Not if I have anything to say about it, Hinata said as she stood beside Naruto. I won't let you hurt him, Blondie. Deidara sneered at her before walking to another room and slamming the door behind him. Sasori walked over to the room he had exited from and entered without a word. Naruto and Hinata walked over to the room Itachi had indicated earlier and entered. They found two beds inside along with a fridge, stove, dishwasher, and a couple of cabinets above the sink. To the left was a bathroom while to the right was a closet with only two things hanging inside of it. Naruto walked over to the closet and grabbed one of the items that was in there. It was an Akatsuki robe that seemed to fit him perfectly. He slid it on and turned to Hinata. Well, what do you think? He asked her. She admired him wearing the cloak. I like it, Naruto-kun. But what if they don't accept the offer you made them? Her voice was quiet. They will, don't worry, he said, walking over to her and placing a hand on her shoulder. She looked up and saw him smiling reassuringly. She smiled back shyly. Why don't you try that one on over there? He asked, pointing a thumb to the other cloak. Hinata nodded and walked over to it, removing the cloak from its hanger and put it on her. She twirled around to face Naruto, who was smiling. Well? How'd I look, Naruto-kun? She asked shyly. Anything you wear makes you look good, Hinata-chan, he grinned, making her blush. Good night, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Good night, Hinata-chan, Naruto told her before falling asleep. Hinata watched Naruto before she fell asleep. Only one thought was going through her mind. That was what was going to happen to them in 2 days. Slowly she fell asleep, only to be met by nightmares of her father's wrath and different scenarios of him killing Naruto. During one of the nightmares, she saw Hiyashi striking Naruto again and again with gentle fist strikes. Before the finishing blow could be hit, Hinata woke up. She was covered in sweat and had kicked all her blankets off. She was shaking slightly, trying to get those images out of her head. She got up and went to the sink to get a drink of water. She quickly gulped it down before walking over to the beds. She stopped beside Naruto's and looked at him. She smiled, knowing he was alive and with her. She blushed slightly as she stared. She looked over at her bed and shivered, knowing those nightmares would return when she fell back to sleep. Hinata then gathered as much courage as she could muster and turned to Naruto. She shook him slightly, waking him up. Hinata-chan? What is it? He asked tiredly. See, can I sleep next to you? IW was having a nightmare of father, she trailed off. Naruto blushed instantly. Why you want to sleep next to me? He asked, swallowing hard. If you don't want me to that's fine, she said sheepishly. If you're having nightmares, you can sleep over here, Naruto said to her. She looked at him and nodded, her face covered in a massive blush as she lay down next to him. They both pulled the covers up to their necks as they stared at each other. See, can you hold me, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked quietly. Sure, Naruto said as Hinata scooted closer to him, nuzzling into his chest. Both of their hearts were pounding in their chests as if they were trying to escape. Naruto wrapped his arms around Hinata's shoulders as she snuggled as close as she could get to him. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Thank you for being my friend, she said quietly to him. Why yeah, no problem, Hinata-chan, Naruto replied. Hinata soon fell asleep in Naruto's arms. She loved it and soon found peace in it, knowing that in his arms no nightmares would come to her. Naruto shortly after fell asleep as well. The two of them slept like that for the next 2 days. And they needed it after they left the hidden leaf, no stopping but for short periods and then fighting their former comrades. Hidan and Kakuzu had arrived the next day and Pain and Konan the day after that. Now Naruto would give Pain his offer and see what would happen. But for now they slept. They slept like there was nothing wrong with the world and that they were the only two people in it. In fact, they slept for 2 days after Pain's arrival without realizing it. When they awoke and went outside, they found every member of the Akatsuki waiting in the main room. Took you long enough, Deidara sneered. We've been waiting for 2 days now and the two of you decided to ignore that and sleep, Peace, Deidara. They were obviously tired and needed rest, Pain said. Naruto looked him over. He had 6 piercings on his nose, 3 on each side. 6 piercings on each ear. And 2 under his bottom lip, snake bites. He had red hair that spiked up kinda like Naruto's and wore a hidden rain headband that had a slash mark across it. His eyes were what intrigued them the most. They were purple with a ripple pattern in them. Naruto and Hinata moved their eyes to Konan next. She had shoulder-length purple hair and a single piercing on her bottom lip. She also had what seemed like a paper flower in her hair that was held on by a bun. She was very pretty, but seemed to have a cold look on her face. Almost as if she had seen her best friends killed right in front of her. Kakuzu and Hidan came into view next. There wasn't much to say about Kakuzu except that her wore a mask over his face, much like Kakashi wore. He also had his entire head covered by a white hood. It was held on by a hidden waterfall headband, that also bore a scratch through it. And lastly, the kicker of them all, Hidan. He had silver hair that was slicked back and wore a silver necklace with a weird symbol on it. It was a circle with an upside-down triangle in it. He also wore a headband with 3 diagonal marks on it with a scratch through them. Upon his back was a red scythe with 3 blades on it, all of them facing the same way. All in all, the Akatsuki looked like a group of outcasts in Naruto's eyes. But he knew they were all strong and so he needed their power. He could accept what they looked like with ease, even though Zetsu reminded him of a Venus flytrap. Naruto couldn't help but snicker whenever he looked at Zetsu. All eyes were on Naruto and Hinata now. Let's hear this offer you have, Naruto Uzumaki, Pain said. You all want the Kyuubi inside of me, right? Well, you can have it, Naruto began. All eyes widened except for Itachi and Kisami's. After you train us to become strong enough to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. Then and only then can you have the Kyuubi, Naruto finished, never taking his eyes off Pain. Pain seemed to contemplate this offer for a moment. And what makes you think that we won't just take the Kyuubi from you now, kid? Kakuzu said. His voice was deep and dark, making Hinata shudder slightly. Because I'm not putting up any sort of a fight and willing to help you. You scratch my back and I scratch yours, Naruto said, turning his gaze to Kakuzu. Silence fell over the group for a very long 2 minutes. The sound of water dripping could be heard from a faraway distance. So, Pain said, finally shattering the silence. You want to destroy the hidden leaf. Why? Because they are a bunch of bastards that care only for themselves, Naruto said darkly. So this is more an act of vengeance than anything else? Conan asked. Naruto and Hinata both nodded. And why are you doing this? Conan asked Hinata. I told Naruto-kun that I'd follow him anywhere. That I'd help him anyway he needs it, Hinata said quietly. Conan looked at Pain for a moment, then back to the two children. Both of their faces held a strong determination. Fuck that, I say we just kill them both here as sacrifices to Lord Jashin. Hidan said loudly, grabbing his scythe off his back and charging at the two of them. Naruto hastily pushed Hinata out of the way before jumping above a horizontal slash from Hidan's side. Naruto made a couple of hand seals and 9 shadow clones appeared around Hidan. Hidan just smirked as he pulled a meter-long spear-like object from inside of his cloak. This is gonna be interesting, Hidan grinned. Naruto and his clones all charged forward, each one brandishing kunai in both hands. Hidan jumped up, dodging 2 clones' attacks only to block a hit from 2 more clones. He slashed at the 4 clones with his massive scythe, destroying them in a cloud of smoke. The remaining 5 clones all threw their kunai in unison before engaging in a close-range taijutsu battle. The clones threw punch after punch and kick after kick, only to have each one dodged or blocked. Hidan was using only defense at this point, being somewhat overwhelmed by the numbers. Finally a fist collided with Hidan's jaw only to be followed by another from the other side. Naruto. Hidan was kicked up into the air by the 5 clones as the real Naruto jumped off the back of one of the clones. Naruto did a front spin kick, bringing his heel into the back of Hidan's head. Uzumaki barrage, Naruto yelled as he sent Hidan flying back to earth. Hidan's face smashed into the ground as Naruto landed in front of Hinata protectively. Every member of the Akatsuki watched the whole ordeal passively. You little prick, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. Hidan spat blood out of his mouth as he stood up and charged at Naruto again. However, he was stopped by a wall of what seemed like paper. Naruto and Hinata looked over, saw Conan holding her hands up, obviously controlling the paper. Settle down, Hidan, Pain said calmly. Hidan just glared at him but put his scythe on his back. Obviously the Jinchuriki has some skill. But as for the girl, we have no idea what she can do, Conan said. Maybe Itachi should test her skills. Seeing as how they are from the same village, it would be perfect. Hinata hid behind Naruto timidly as Itachi stepped forward. It'll be okay, Hinata-chan, Naruto said, grabbing her hand reassuringly. Oh okay, Naruto-kun, Hinata said with as much courage as she could muster. She walked out to face Itachi, who stood there passively. Show me what the Hyuga can do, Itachi said calmly. Hinata took up her gentle fist stance before charging towards Itachi. Itachi activated his Sharingan as Hinata activated her Byakugan. Hinata charged her hands with chakra as she swung them at Itachi, who merely stepped back to avoid the attacks. Is that the best you can do? Itachi taunted, as he knocked her next palm strike away by her hitting her arm. Hinata's courage began to falter as all of her attacks were either dodged or blocked. This didn't go unnoticed by Itachi, who seized an opportunity to send a roundhouse kick towards her chest. The kick collided and sent her flying back. She was caught by Naruto before she could hit the ground. I can't, Naruto-kun. I'm weak, she sobbed to him. You're not weak, Hinata. I know you aren't, Naruto said loudly. Your strength doesn't come from your techniques, but from your heart and from those you want to protect. Hinata stopped sobbing and looked up at him. He grinned at her. I believe in you, Hinata-chan, Naruto said encouragingly. She stared at him for a moment before nodding, her eyes holding a new determination. She was going to protect Naruto even if she died. That was what was seared into her brain. Hinata slowly stood up and faced Itachi, returning to her gentle fist stance. Suddenly a green field appeared on the ground around Hinata and Itachi. You're within my field of divination, Itachi Uchiha, Hinata said calmly. 8 trigrams 32 palms, she yelled, charging forward. Her palms were held out in front of her, aiming right at Itachi. 2 palms, she yelled as she hit him twice. 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms. Every attack slammed into Itachi as his chakra points were closed off. Hinata stood panting, shocked as Itachi disappeared in a burst of crows. "Not bad," Itachi said from behind her. "My little brother couldn't even defeat my clone." Naruto rushed over to Hinata as she began to fall back from exhaustion. Pain watched the two of them for a moment before nodding. "Welcome to the Akatsuki, Naruto Uzumaki and Hinata Hyuga," he said to them. Naruto and Hinata both looked over at Pain. "You will begin training tomorrow. Konan will train Hinata and I will train Naruto." He turned to go into one of the many rooms the base had. "Oh, and before I forget," he said, stopping in front of a door. "Don't forget to put a scratch through your headbands to show that you are rogue ninjas now," he finished, then walked into the room. Naruto and Hinata nodded as the rest of the Akatsuki members all went into their rooms, leaving Naruto and Hinata alone in the main room. "We did it," Naruto said quietly. "We actually did it." Hinata looked up at Naruto, who smiled down at her. "Why yes we did, Naruto-kun," she said, smiling back. She tried to stand up but fell back into Naruto. He caught her quickly, making sure she wouldn't fall again. "I am sorry, Naruto-kun," she said. "It's okay, Hinata-chan. I'll just carry you," he said, picking her up bridal style. She let out a small eep and quickly grabbed onto his neck to steady herself, but soon relaxed when she saw that Naruto wouldn't drop her. Naruto walked over to the room they were in and opened the door with his foot before walking in, kicking the door shut behind him. He set her on the bed so she could rest. "You hungry, Hinata-chan?" he asked her as he walked over to the fridge to see what there was to eat. "A little," she said as Naruto rummaged through the fridge to find something quick and easy to eat. Finally he pulled out a boxed lunch and quickly heated it up. While that was cooking he looked in the cabinets, hoping to find instant ramen. Naruto wasn't disappointed when he found some. "Yes," he exclaimed when he found it. Instant ramen. He began to heat up some water. The boxed lunch finished warming up so he brought it over to Hinata, who accepted it graciously. "Tea, thank you, Naruto-kun," she said quietly to him. He grinned at her before going over to the water and pouring it in the ramen cup. Naruto-kun, do you think we can do this?" she asked him. "Do what? You mean destroy the hidden leaf?" he asked, turning to her. She nodded. "Yes. I mean, are we going to be able to when the time comes? All of our friends are there. We need to forget about them, Hinata," Naruto said quietly. "They were only holding us back while we were with them." Hinata looked up at him before nodding. "Yes, you're right," she said, determination heavy in her voice. Naruto grinned before turning to his ramen. "Now let's eat and then rest so we can be prepared for tomorrow's training," he said encouragingly to her, putting his thumb up to her. "Yes," Hinata smiled at him. 5 years had passed since Naruto and Hinata joined the Akatsuki with the goal of destroying the Hidden Leaf Village. They had trained under Pain and Konan the entire time up until 4 months ago. That was when they were given their first assignment as members of the Akatsuki. The mission: scouting out the other Jinchuriki's whereabouts. Having Naruto, the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, made the mission much easier since the Kyuubi could sense the other tailed beast's chakra signatures with ease. Now Naruto and Hinata walked through a desert going towards their first objective. Their cloaks blew in the wind as they walked. Ever since they joined they had slowly adopted their own looks. Hinata had gotten rid of her jacket permanently. She now wore only the shinobi mesh armor and a black tank top. Her headband hung around her neck with a scratch through the center going horizontally. Her Akatsuki robes were open all the way down. She wore simple black pants and shinobi boots. On her left leg she had her kunai holster tied. She even grew out her hair. It now reached the middle of her back and hung loosely except for a small bun on the right side. It was held up by a paper flower, a trait she had adopted from her teacher Konan. As for Naruto, he had changed the Akatsuki cloak somewhat. Now instead of robes, it was more of a trench coat that stopped just above his knees in the front, but continued down to his ankles in the back. The back, from about mid-thigh down, it was split in two. You could say it was like 2 tails trailing behind him. Also, near the collar there were 7, 3-inch thick and about 2-foot long tail-like strips of cloth. Just from a slight look, you could tell that Naruto was toned. He only wore black fingerless and thumbless gloves that went up to his elbows and black pants under the cloak. Across the back of his waist, under the cloak, he had a katana attached. It was about 4 foot in length and had a red handle with a fox head at the end. His shoes were easily seen under the cloak, and of course they were black like the rest of his outfit. His hair had grown a decent amount too. It was shaggier now and hung down on either side of his face going past his cheeks. The top had taken a spikier appearance. Two groups of his hair spiked up more than the rest, almost like fox ears. The whisker-shaped marks on Naruto's face had long since darkened due to his training with pain. His eyes were a different matter altogether. Instead of the usual blue they had always been, they were now purple with a ripple pattern and a slit-like pupil in them. Basically a fusion of the Rinnegan and Kyuubi eye. Pain had shown Naruto his real body, a frail one that walked around on a spider-like machine, after 4 years into his training. Naruto also found out that his name was Nagato. He decided Naruto was strong enough to wield the Rinnegan, so he had given Naruto a present on his 17th birthday. Each one of them had matured greatly over the last 5 years, especially Hinata. Her confidence grew tremendously. She was no longer the shy girl who blushed and stuttered every time she talked to Naruto. Now she was able to keep a conversation with him with ease. Even their feelings had surfaced greatly a couple of years ago. The two of them remembered like it was yesterday. 1 year ago, Naruto and Hinata sat on the bed after a long day of training. It was around the time of Hinata's birthday and Naruto said he wanted to show her something later that night. Hinata was eager to know what it was, knowing that it would be the greatest gift she had ever received. Sure, the other members had given her gifts occasionally when her birthday came around, but they mostly consisted of weapons. "So what is it you wanted to show me, Naruto-kun?" she asked, no longer with the stutter in her voice when she talked to him. Naruto smiled at her as he stood up. He grabbed her hand, making her blush slightly, and walked to the middle of the room with her. "Watch this," he said. Naruto made a set of unique hand seals that Nagato had taught him. Dimension Warp Jutsu. Naruto called out as the floor around them became a light blue color and looked like liquid. The two of them sank into the liquid pool. Hinata clung to Naruto as they sank, making Naruto smile. Suddenly they were in a completely different place. Instead of their room it was now a grassy hilltop with a single, very large oak tree on the top. The scene was an eternal sunset. Naruto led Hinata up to the tree and sat back against the tree. "What is this place, Naruto?" Hinata asked, amazed. "A dimension that I created with my new jutsu that Nagato taught me. With it I can create anything in here with only my mind." For example, Naruto turned his attention towards the sunset and focused for a moment. In an instant the scene changed to depict the Hidden Leaf Village destroyed. Every building was either on fire or destroyed entirely. The Hokage's office was in shambles and the monument behind it was smashed to bits. None of the faces could be seen anymore. "This is what our dream is, Hinata-chan," Naruto said quietly. He changed the scene back to the sunset hill setting. "But that's not all I want to show you," he said, turning back to her. "Then what is it, Naruto-kun?" she asked, tilting her head slightly to give her an innocent look. Naruto smiled. "This," he said, pulling out a small box from behind his back. He handed it to Hinata and sat down next to her. She was shocked when she saw the box. What is it?" she asked. "Open it," he told her, speaking softly. When she did, she gasped slightly. It was a necklace that had the kanji for love attached to it. The chain that it hung from had a slight orange glow to it. Naruto-kun, when did you get this?" she asked him, completely amazed at the gift. "A few months. It took me some time to get Kurama's chakra into the chain so that it wouldn't burn up or be too weak. If you are wearing it, we can speak mentally to one another just as long as we aren't too far away from each other. The farthest range I could get it to reach was 100 yards. Here, let me help you put it on," he said to her as he took the necklace from her and undid the link. She turned and pulled her hair out the way for him. Once he had secured the necklace in place, she turned to him and smiled. Naruto-kun, the kanji that's on here. It means love, right?" she asked. Naruto nodded. "So does that mean that you love me?" Naruto smiled at her with his most genuine smile. She loved that smile more than his foxy grin that he generally had on his face. "Exactly, Hinata-chan." He was cut off by a pair of lips that had claimed his. His eyes widened when he realized what was happening. Hinata pulled back and looked at Naruto, her face a deep red that Naruto hadn't seen in a while. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I was just so happy that," she was cut off by his finger on her lips. "I didn't mind at all. I was just surprised is all." He smiled at her before leaning in and kissing her softly on the lips. The sun slowly setting as the two shared this wonderful moment in their lives. The two of them walked through the desert slowly, taking their time. It was dark outside, making the desert very cold. Naruto looked up at the moon with his Rinnegan, Kyuubi eye, a small smile creeping at the corner of his mouth. It's been a while since I've seen Gaara. He became the cage too. This'll be good, he said, smirking. Some of Kurama's chakra seeped out of him and swirled around before going back inside his body. Don't get too excited, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, not taking her eyes off the desert ahead of them. We don't want the one-tailed to sense our presence yet. Right, Naruto said, turning his attention back to the desert. Sasori-sama said he has a contact here that we need to use. I can see the village from here, Hinata said, her Byakugan active, although it wasn't the same as before. Instead of almost pupil-less eyes, they now held a silver starburst for the pupil. She had developed her Byakugan to a whole new level, the Drakugan. She had heard a story about it once from her mother, but never believed it. Now she was the only living Hyuga to wield this dojutsu. The Drakugan was able to give a 360-degree view of everything around her, like the Byakugan, except it even covered the blind spot. She could still see chakra points and chakra systems, but could now also read what type of jutsu her opponent was going to use against her. The Byakugan could only read chakra that was about to be used, not the attack type. Also, just like the Rinnegan, it allowed her to use all 5 of the elemental chakra types. Although not as strong as the Rinnegan allowed. It also allowed her to use Sword of Kekkei Genkei from the 5 elements. And to top it off, the Drakugan could see a distance of around 10 miles away, while the Byakugan could barely reach 2 miles. How far away? Naruto asked. I'd say the hidden sand will come into view in about an hour, so we should reach it in about an hour and a half, she said, deactivated her eyes. Good. I really want to test Gaara's skills as a Jinchuriki and as the cage, Naruto smirked. The two were silent for the rest of the time. Normally they would have been very talkative and all over each other, but during missions they were as serious as a heart attack. That way they weren't distracted by each other. That could be saved for after the mission with their downtime. As Hinata said, the village came into view after about an hour of walking. I guess now's as good a time as any to use it, Naruto said, taking a small scroll from the weapons pouch behind him. He unfurled it, placing it on the ground. Naruto made a few hand seals, then placed his palm on the jutsu formula that was written on the scroll. Activate, Naruto said quietly as he closed his eyes. From the cage's building, a man was sitting at his desk when he suddenly felt something in the back of his mind flare up. The jutsu now active, he stood up and left the building and began to head towards the village entrance, exit. He arrived within minutes and went to the center of the stone corridor that made the entrance. His hand blurred through a series of hand seals, finally stopping with his palms smacked together. Genjutsu. Sleep paralysis, he called. A wave of chakra swept through the entire area, knocking out and sand shinobi that got caught in the wave. By this point Naruto and Hinata had come up to the village. Good work. Sasori is going to need your services later. Head to the base now and wait for him there, Naruto said to the ninja, who nodded in return. The 2 Akatsuki members walked past him as he walked out of the village. Naruto turned his head. Oh, and don't be late. Sasori-sama hates it when he's kept waiting, and with that they walked into the village. Don't forget we need to trap this entire area before we leave, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. How could I forget, Hinata-chan, Naruto said, turning and smiling at her before making 2 shadow clones without the need of a hand seal. He turned to his clones. Make sure this entire area is booby-trapped before you disperse. We don't need any followers, Naruto said, his clones nodding and going off to set the traps. Now, let's get the one tail, Hinata said. Kurama, can you tell me where he is? Naruto asked out loud as a spectral image of the fox appeared in front of Naruto. Yes. He's in a meeting currently with his advisors and a few clan heads, Kurama said. Good job, Naruto told the fox. With that, the image disappeared and Naruto and Hinata continued walking. They jumped up onto the rooftops and looked around. Shall we call him out here or should we go get him ourselves? Naruto asked, grinning. Call him out here, Hinata said. Naruto grinned evilly before letting out a large wave of red chakra across the village. Come out. Come out wherever you are, Gaara. Naruto called as he leapt onto a roof that was higher than the rest. He was shortly followed by Hinata. "We just want to talk. And take the one tail with us," Hinata finished. Suddenly the sand around their feet moved to the edge of the building and formed up in a human shape that slowly became Gaara. "I thought I felt a powerful chakra wave, but I never thought it would be you too," Gaara said in usual emotionless voice. "Long time no see, Gaara," Naruto said in a very convincing, yet fake, happy-go-lucky voice. "Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, why are the two of you here?" Gaara asked. "We just want to talk to an old friend," Naruto replied, his voice still the happy-go-lucky tone. "Talk about the one tail, that is. Let us take it and we will leave this village as it is. Refuse and we will destroy everything in sight and defeat you to get it." Naruto's voice changed back to his serious tone. "That's not going to happen, Naruto. You and I both know that," Gaara said calmly. "That's what I was hoping you'd say," Naruto said directly behind Gaara. "Almighty push," Naruto said calmly, sending a shocked Gaara flying to the roof of the building from an unknown force. The fight had now begun. "Sand shower," Gaara called as he landed, his sand catching him. All sorts throwing weapons made of sand flew at Naruto, who made a few hand seals. "Wind style. Devastation," Naruto called and swept his arm in front of him, calling forth a large gust of wind that continued to blow as the sand weapons struck. None of the weapons were able to make it through the wall and the wind wall was unable to go forward. They were at a stalemate until Gaara was forced to break his jutsu as a group of small water balls came flying in his direction. "Drikugan Special Jutsu. Kekkei Genkei Copy," Hinata said, holding her fingers like guns. Water shot from the tips of her fingers at Gaara at blinding speeds. Gaara's sand shaped up around him and formed a shield around him on all sides. "Third Eye Jutsu," Gaara said within his shield, covering up his eye with his hand. An eye formed out of sand above his shield. "Let's see what you've got, Naruto Uzumaki," Gaara called out to Naruto through his shield. "With pleasure, Gaara of the Sand," Naruto said back as he made a few hand seals ending in the tiger seal. "I'm gonna cook you inside of the sand. Then we are taking you with us. Fire style. Dragon flame bombs," Naruto called, blowing a large amount of fire from his mouth that spread across the ground and covered Gaara's dome. The eye on the outside consumed in flame, blinding the eye. Gaara removed his hand and winced from the searing light. "Fine, we'll play that way. But I am not gonna allow you to destroy my village," Gaara said. Suddenly the sand exploded outward, dispersing the flames. All the sand rose up into the air, forming a sort of platform that held Gaara atop it. He lifted his arms and sand rose from the ground below the buildings. "Sand tsunami," Gaara called as he swept the sand at the two Akatsuki members. Naruto and Hinata jumped up and away as the sand collided with the roof they were standing on. As they looked down, they noticed the sand swirling together in the center. The swirling continued and began to rise, slowly taking the shape of the one-tail's head. "Wind style. Air bullet," the sand behemoth called as a strong blast of wind shot from its mouth up at Naruto and Hinata. Naruto closed his eyes as red chakra wrapping itself around him. He moved in front of Hinata, raising his hands. The blast of wind was caught in Naruto's grasp, red chakras swirling into the wind. Naruto now had total control of the attack. "My turn," Naruto said, smirking, palming the attack with one hand. "Vermilion air bullet," Naruto's voice was calm as he threw the blast of Kyuubi chakra-infused wind at Gaara. They landed on a building as the attack slammed into a wall of sand that had quickly formed around Gaara at the last minute. "This battle is gonna take a little while. We need to let the others know when to get ready," Hinata said. Naruto nodded as he pulled out a small scroll from his weapons pouch behind him. He bit his thumb and wiped the blood across the scroll. He made a couple of hand seals before slamming his palm onto the scroll. "Summoning," Naruto called. After the smoke from the summoning cleared, there were two white birds. "Time to let them know that we have engaged the target," Naruto said, picking up the birds and throwing them up in the air. Hinata made a singled on-handed seal. "Caw!" The two birds came to life and flew high into the air before exploding, the second one going 5 seconds after the first. Two explosions could be seen a few miles away from the village hidden in the sand, the second explosion happening 5 seconds after the other. "Sasori, my man, it's about time we go in," Deidara said as he watched the skies. Let's go then," a deep voice that was not Sasori's said. Deidara turned to his partner who was covered in the shell of a puppet. I can't wait to show the sand what art truly is, Deidara chuckled. Hurry up, I don't like to keep people waiting, Deidara, Sasori said dangerously as he walked forward. Fine, Deidara put his hand into a pouch and pulled out a white substance, the same substance the birds from earlier was made from. A mouth on Deidara's hand chewed the substance before spitting it back out into his hand. Deidara closed his hand and began to shape the clay. When he was finished he now held onto an owl. Deidara threw the bird into the air and made the same hand seal Hinata had made earlier. Caw, Deidara called as the bird grew to a very large size after a small explosion of smoke. Hurry up, Sasori nearly yelled as Deidara jumped up onto the owl's back before gliding up beside Sasori. Art can't be rushed, Sasori, Deidara glared at his partner. The two fell silent. The only sound that could be heard was Sasori walking across the desert and a small bell on each of their hats jingling with every step or flap of wings. Naruto and Hinata dodged a wave of sand that was sent at them, then dodged again as the wave split in two and began to follow them. Damn it, Naruto cursed quietly to himself as he dodged sand again. He was no longer covered in red chakra, but his Rinnegan was flaring up like crazy. Almighty push, Naruto called as the sand got too close for comfort. The sand was blasted back as Naruto charged forward, drawing his katana and stabbing at Gaara. Gaara used his sand platform to lift him up out of the way of Naruto's sword. You're going to have to do much better than that, Gaara said calmly. Naruto merely smirked as he watched Gaara fly up into the air. Slowly red chakra began to circulate around Naruto. Hinata watched from the side, knowing what Naruto was about to do. As the red chakra began to swirl around Naruto, he put his palm out to the side. The chakra started to take shape in Naruto's palm, forming a long spear with 3 blades at the tip. Don't move any closer. I'd much rather have this explode by you than over here near us. Crimson Spear, Naruto yelled as he threw the spear right at Gaara's chest. A shocked look came over Gaara's face due to the speed of the spear. He barely had enough time to dodge to the side as the spear sped past him. Gaara turned to watch it sail away, only to see it crash into the side of the canyon the hidden sand village was in. After it hit the canyon side, a massive explosion occurred. The shockwave hit Gaara like a freight train, knocking him off his floating sand platform and sending him down to the roof. No less than 20 buildings were caught in the explosion, each and every one of them disintegrated. Gaara stood up, wide-eyed, witnessing the destruction of part of the village. His eyes became furious as he turned to Naruto, who wore a sadistic grin on his face. And that's why I didn't want it going off near us, Naruto said, motioning his head in Hinata's direction. You, Gaara hissed. You are going to die for attacking my village. Gaara yelled the last part. You shouldn't have moved, Naruto shrugged. Gaara lunged forward, using his sand as whips from behind him. Naruto evaded the whips as he leapt back. Naruto saw an opening in the whips and charged forward, katana poised to stab. The blade went through the right side of Gaara's chest, causing him to yell in pain. Naruto dug the blade into his opponent's flesh all the way down to the hilt. You bastard, Gaara said through clenched teeth. Gaara, a female voice yelled. Naruto quickly pulled his sword free from Gaara's chest and brought it around to block the shuriken that were thrown at his back. As he did this, Naruto sent a strong kick into Gaara's chest, knocking him away so as to not get attacked in the back again. Hinata charged at Gaara, her Drakugan active and her hand covered in chakra. She began her assault as Gaara blocked with his sand, holding the wound on his chest. Blood was slowly flowing from the wound and over his hand, but he kept his ground. And who might you be? Naruto asked the newcomer. She had brown hair that was tied up into a ponytail. She wore the general dress a Sand Chunin wore and had a katana strapped across her back. Her green eyes glared angrily at Naruto. I'm Katara, and I won't let you harm Gaara anymore, she said angrily. I doubt that, Naruto said. I'm way out of your league, little girl. Plus I'm a Jinchuriki. Naruto lifted his katana. Still, it would be nice to get some sword practice in after only fighting against the others for so long, Naruto said, referring to Kisame and Hidan. I'm the best sword wielder in the village. You've made a very poor choice on whom to cross blades with, Katara said dangerously before charging forward, drawing her katana and aiming an overhead slash at Naruto. Naruto raised his sword with one hand to block. The force from her attack sent a blast of wind away from the two. "That's quite powerful," Naruto complimented, pushing her away from him. But Naruto raised his sword in a slashing position before disappearing. He reappeared right behind a shocked Katara, slicing her cheek before disappearing again. This time he reappeared in front of her and sliced the other cheek in the same spot. "Now allow me to show you how a real sword master works," Naruto said, making a single one-handed seal. "Cherry blossom blade dance," Naruto said quietly as the wind around him picked up. Red chakras swirled around him and slowly took shape of small flower petals. The chakra petals swirled around both him and Katara as he began to disappear and reappear in random places around his. He made small cuts on her body with every pass he made. The chakra petals swirled around her, each one leaving a small slice on her skin before disappearing. As the petals sliced her, they left a burning feeling in that area. Katara screamed as the petals made contact. Katara was able to block a few attacks from Naruto, but only to be cut by the chakra blades. After 2 minutes of this, all the petals disappeared and Naruto stood in front of her, his sword resting on her neck. She was kneeling on the ground, panting. Never had she been through such torment. Her screams got Gaara's attention in an instant. He turned and saw her in a whirlwind of red petals of some sort. Gaara watched in horror as she was brought to her knees from every attack Naruto used. "Katara!" Gaara yelled, charging towards her, completely forgetting about Hinata. Naruto lifted her up and her back to him, his sword resting across her neck. "Make one more move, and I'll slice her throat. She's obviously important to you and you wouldn't want her to get hurt, would you?" Naruto asked, smirking. Gaara stopped his approach, looking at Katara with fearful eyes. Suddenly 20 sand Anbu appeared around the area. Kankuro and Temari were with them as well. "Gaara, are you okay?" Temari asked quickly. She gasped when she saw the wound on his chest, then glared at Naruto, who only smirked in reply. "Let Katara go, Naruto Uzumaki," Gaara said dangerously. "Nope." Naruto shook his head, acting like Tobi somewhat. Tobi had a knack for making serious moments turning into embarrassing spectacles, a trait that Naruto was now beginning to show. "Why should I, Gaara-kun?" Naruto asked sheepishly. Gaara glared angrily at him. "Because if you don't," Gaara said, lifting his hands. His sand quickly grabbed Hinata's wrists and ankles, pulling them away from each other. "I'll kill her." Naruto barely showed any emotion on his face as he watched Hinata trapped by the sand. Naruto took his sword off Katara's neck and pushed her forward at Gaara roughly. Gaara quickly caught the girl and embraced her as she barely lifted her arms to hug him back. "Are you okay?" he asked. Before she could answer, Naruto laughed darkly. "No, she isn't, and neither are you," Naruto yelled. Just then they both heard the sound of an explosive tag begin its countdown. Katara realized it was on her back, quickly removing her flak jacket and trying to throw it away. She barely got it off and it left her hands before exploding. The explosion knocked them both down onto the roof hard. Gaara was bleeding from his right side much more, and Katara had a broken arm and a few broken ribs. His face and arm were also burned badly. The sand holding Hinata fell away and she disappeared, reappearing beside Naruto. "Let's get him," he said, ignoring the Anbu around him. "We won't let you Akatsuki scum take our cage," and Anbu yelled, charging forward, his tanto raised to kill. Naruto ducked under the slash as Hinata leaned back. Naruto then stood back up quickly and grabbed the man's throat. "Say what you want about me." Naruto lifted the man up and squeezed tighter. "But don't you ever insult my family like that." Naruto's voice was dangerous as he crushed the man's throat and threw the body over to the other Anbu. The now dead man exploded from explosive tags that Naruto placed on him faster than the eye could see. The explosion killed 4 more Anbu. Hinata leaned down and lifted Gaara up. "We'll be taking your cage with us. You can have the corpse when we are done," Hinata said as she pushed Gaara off the side of the building before stepping back and jumping down herself. Suddenly a giant white owl flew straight up, carrying Hinata and Deidara on its back while it held Gaara in its tail feathers. Naruto jumped up and grabbed a hold of one of the owl's feet. They flew up higher and higher as Deidara pulled a small totem made of the same white substance the owl was made from. "This detonating clay statue is one of my more powerful pieces of art," Deidara called down to the Anbu. Temari, and Kankuro. Now you will see what art truly is. He dropped the statue straight down and made a single-handed seal. Ka! The statue exploded into a much larger version of it. It fell straight down. Art. Deidara made another hand seal, is an explosion. The giant statue began to shine brightly before detonation. The explosion ripping through the sky. Deidara and Naruto both smirked at the blast, but as the smoke cleared, their smirks vanished. Directly below them was a gigantic rose made out of sand, protecting the village. Gaara had his hand lifted towards the village. He was panting heavily. Just in time, Gaara said, his voice ragged as he began to move the sand flower away from the village so it wouldn't drop onto his village. Even in an exhausted state and close to death state, he upheld his duty as case cage. Admirable, Naruto commented. Whatever, Deidara said quietly. Gaara. Katara moaned quietly. Gaara, she yelled as Kankuro and Temari supported her weight. Katara. Gaara said before passing out. Time to go, Deidara said as the bird flew away. Stop, Kankuro yelled before jumping after them. He pointed to 5 Anbu. You come with me, he ordered. Right. They called in unison and followed Kankuro. Kankuro. Wait, Temari yelled after him, but Kankuro was already too far away to hear. Damn it, she cursed and turned to everyone else. Ready a counter-attack force quickly and take her to the infirmary. She yelled. Yes, Temari-sama, one of them said as they all dispersed. One of them took Katara and leapt away towards the infirmary. Temari sighed and looked to the sky. Kankuro, you better be safe and bring our little brother back, Temari thought to herself before leaping off the building towards the case cage's office. You're late, Deidara, Sasori said angrily as the trio finally showed up. Sorry, Sasori-sama, Hinata said as she jumped off the bird. Deidara smirked as he jumped off the bird. Whatever, let's just get Gaara back to the hideout. I'm tired of this damn sand, Naruto said. Right, Sasori said, turning around and walking off, followed shortly by Naruto and Hinata. Fine, Deidara said, following them with the bird right beside him. A large explosion could be heard behind them. Sounds like they worked, Naruto smirked. Good work, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, smiling at him. Thanks, Naruto smirked back. The group continued on in silence for a while until they heard running. The 4 tensed up slightly as Deidara turned to look at Hinata slightly, who nodded in return. Drakugan, she said calmly. Her eyes changed and her vision increased. It's only Kankuro. He must have made it through the traps. No matter. We will dispose of him, Hinata said, somewhat coldly. No, Sasori said. I'll take care of him quickly. He uses my puppets after all, and it would be good to see how well he's taken care of them. Yes, Sasori-sama, Hinata said, her eyes going back to normal. Sasori stopped, turning around, facing Kankuro's direction. I'll see you all in a moment, Sasori said as the others walked through the desert. Nobody said anything as they passed by Sasori, who only stared ahead. Just don't be late, Sasori, Deidara called back without looking. Sasori merely nodded. After a short wait, Kankuro appeared over a sand dune. Found ya, now give Gaara back, Kankuro yelled as he removed 2 scrolls from behind his back and unrolled them on the ground. He slammed his palms onto them. 2 puppets appeared from them as Kankuro summoned the 3rd puppet from the other scroll. Crow, Ant, and Salamander all stood in a protective formation in front of Kankuro. I haven't seen those 3 in a long time, Sasori said as Kankuro made the first move, thus beginning the fight. The battle stays the same as in canon, so I didn't feel the need to explain it. Took you long enough to get back, Deidara said as Sasori rejoined the group. I had a little more fun than I expected, Sasori said as they all continued on. They had now exited the desert and were walking through a forest by a river. We are almost at the base, Hinata said quietly. Good, our plan is starting. Soon everything will fall into place. Naruto grinned evilly, thinking of his main goal. 2 hours passed by until they came up to a cliff, the river running below. From the top they could see a gigantic rock with a large seal tag attached to it. They all jumped down and landed on the water, walking forward to the rock. Naruto made a set of hand seals, making the rock slowly rise up out of the water. A multicolored spectral image of pain appeared before them. You're late, he said, his voice static. Sorry, got carried away fighting my creations, Sasori said. Either way, let's commence with the sealing jutsu, Pain said, disappearing but reappearing atop a finger from a giant statue in the back of the room. Deidara had the bird drop Gaara on the floor directly in front of the statue before jumping up onto one of the fingers. Sasori, Naruto, and Hinata shortly followed suit, each one standing on a different finger. Suddenly the other fingers had an Akatsuki member standing atop it. The images of Tobi and Zetsu stood in the palm of the statue's hands. Each member made a hand seal. 9 Phantom Dragons Sealing Jutsu. Pain called out as the mouth of the statue opened and 9 white dragons all rushed towards Gaara, enveloping him in an instant. How long is this going to take, Pain-sama? Naruto asked. 3 days, Pain replied. End time jump here. Since the story is focused on just the Akatsuki, the other characters will not be showing up as much. However, they won't disappear completely. 3 days had finally passed and the sealing jutsu was over. The images off the Akatsuki members vanished, leaving only Hinata, Naruto, Sasori, Deidara, and an almost dead Gaara. Deidara leapt down from where he was standing and sat on Gaara. Just a shell now, Deidara scoffed. The rest of them all jumped down beside Deidara. The enemy is here. They're just outside and preparing to break in. Those seals that are placed out there are truly wonderful, Hinata said calmly as she watched the door. How are we going to attack them? Naruto asked. Deidara looked at the bird. Hinata can use my jutsu and take Gaara away with you. Sasori and I will stay here, he said. Naruto nodded. I wonder who we are up against, Naruto pondered. From the looks of things, it looks like Team Guy and Team Kakashi. Although they have 2 new people on their squad. Sakura is still there but the other 2, I've never seen before. One of them looks emotionless but a worthy adversary. The other is an old lady from the sand, Hinata finished her analysis. Grandmother, Sasori said. The old lady is my grandmother. Just then the rock covering the cave exploded into smaller rocks and dust. The 4 Akatsuki members watched emotionlessly as the 4 ninja came into view. Naruto? Sakura said, shocked. Wow, he has changed, she thought, turning to Hinata. And so has she. My friends, why couldn't I help you? Sakura thought solemnly but then shook her head. I can't be thinking like that. They are my enemies now and must be treated as such. Long time no see, Kakashi. Sakura, Naruto said. Hand over Gaara now, Naruto, Kakashi said firmly. Not a chance, Hinata said as she made the bird scoop Gaara up in its mouth before flying over to her and Naruto. They both jumped up onto its back and flew out of the cave. Deidara, go with them. They are going to need your help, Sasori said calmly. Whatever. Just don't die. I'd hate to be given a new teammate. Especially since it would probably be Tobi. Deidara made another bird and flew after Naruto and Hinata. Kakashi and the new team member followed after them. Sai, don't engage them unless I say so, Kakashi said. Of course, Kakashi-sensei. Sai said, putting on a fake smile and leaping away. So grandmother, shall we begin this fight? Sasori asked, sending poisoned senbon at the 2 Kanuchi. Sakura, I'm going to use the puppet master jutsu on you. Don't resist it, the old lady said. Right, Lady Chio, Sakura nodded as she felt chakra strings attach themselves to her. Let's go, Sasori yelled as the battle officially began. So that guy is who replaced me, huh? I wonder if they found a replacement for Sasuke. Naruto pondered as he took a quick glance behind him. Kakashi and Sai were maintaining a decent distance. Time to give them a speed bump in the road, Naruto smirked as he made a set of hand seals. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He called as 12 clones appeared on the large roots that went from one side of the river canyon to the other. They all charged at the 2-leaf ninja, katanas drawn and aimed to kill. Ninja art. Super Beast Scroll. Sai called as 5 large lions made of ink appeared from the scroll he was drawing on. They attacked the clones, quickly dispersing them and getting destroyed themselves. I didn't put that much chakra into those clones but they were still pretty powerful. And he defeated all of them, Naruto said to himself as he sat atop the white bird that was carrying him, Hinata, Deidara, and a dead Gaara. We should put as much distance between these 2 as we can, Hinata said, using her eyes to look at the 2 ninjas' chakra systems. Kakashi's head almost tripled from when they fought way back when they started their journey, and size was nearly the same level. Suddenly Deidara screamed in agony. Hinata and Naruto turned and saw a vortex swirling on Deidara's arm, ripping it off at the elbow. "Son of a bitch!" Deidara yelled, digging his other hand into his detonating clay pouch and using his hand to chew some up. "Deidara-sama!" Hinata yelled. "Damn, how did I not notice that attack? It had to have been his Sharingan," Hinata cursed inwardly. "I'm fine, Deidara grunted. "But that old man is gonna die." He finished making the small clay bug statues and dropped them, making a single hand seal. Caw! All the bugs made a small puff of smoke before jumping like crickets towards the leaf ninja. Sai jumped out of the way, but Kakashi was not so fortunate as a majority of the bugs were directed at him anyway. "Die!" Deidara yelled as the bugs all exploded. "Kakashi!" Sai yelled, making a bird for him to fly as well. "Let's fight in the skies," he said. Deidara smirked at the explosion, but it soon turned into a sneer as he saw all the splinters. Suddenly Kakashi leapt out of the side of the canyon wall, his signature lightning blade in both hands. One aimed for Deidara while the other for Naruto. Both the male Akatsuki members jumped up and away from the attacks as Hinata and the bird she stood atop engaged Sai in an aerial battle. "So Kakashi-sensei, how have you been?" Naruto asked as they all landed. "Naruto, what has happened to you?" Kakashi asked solemnly. "I've gained power. Much more power than you could ever offer. I'm sure I'm even stronger than that Dobi Sasuke," Naruto smirked, drawing his katana. "Deidara-sama, I can handle him. Go find your arm so Kakuzu can sew it back on later." Just don't go overboard, Naruto," Deidara said before jumping off to go find his arm. "Are you sure a one-on-one fight with me is wise, Naruto?" Kakashi asked dangerously. "Of course it is. I'm much stronger than I once was," he said as red chakras swirled around him. "Crimson Barrage!" Naruto yelled as he charged forward, striking his katana at Kakashi with lightning speed. Using his Sharingan, Kakashi was able to barely dodge every attack. He drew a kunai and blocked an overhead slash. "Why do you want Gaara's body back so badly?" Naruto asked as he disengaged from Kakashi. "To bring him back to his village for a proper burial," Kakashi told his former student. "That's pretty lame if you ask me," Naruto said, sticking his pinky in his ear to clean it out. Obviously bored with where that conversation was going. "You should let us have him. His body is crucial to our plans," Naruto said, forming a Rasengan in his hand and making a half-tiger seal in the other hand. "What are your plans with his body?" Kakashi asked, charging up a lightning blade in his hand. "That's for us to know and you to find out later," Naruto smirked, turning his eyes to the Rasengan. Fire infusion. Suddenly the chakra began to glow a fiery orange color, flames occasionally seeping out of the spinning attack. "Let's see what you've got, Kakashi," Naruto said, charging forward. Kakashi did the same and brought his attack up as Naruto brought his up, aimed to kill. "Lightning blade!" Kakashi yelled. "Fire style! Flame vortex Rasengan!" Naruto yelled, slamming the fiery attack into Kakashi's. The two attacks merely held together for a moment before Naruto's began to spit fire at Kakashi. Suddenly Naruto's fire Rasengan exploded forward, catching Kakashi in a vortex of fire. "Gotcha!" Naruto smirked triumphantly, only to be grabbed by his ankle and dragged under the ground, leaving only his head above ground. "A ninja must always see through deception. Remember?" Kakashi said, standing above Naruto. "Now you will no longer be a threat to the Leaf Village or any other village for that matter," Kakashi said quietly as he raised a kunai and swung down, aiming to kill Naruto in one swift blow. "Almighty push," Naruto said calmly. The ground around him as well as Kakashi was blown away. Naruto now stood in a 3-meter deep crater. Kakashi got to his feet slowly. Blood was running down his face from a hit to his forehead. "Where did you get that power from, Naruto?" Kakashi asked. "Pain-sama gave it to me," Naruto said matter-of-factly, turning his Rinnegan eyes to Kakashi. "The same goes for this," Naruto said, lifting his hand up. Universal pull. Suddenly Kakashi felt his body flying through the air towards Naruto and his raised katana. The blade stabbed all the way through Kakashi's chest, just barely missing his lung and heart. Even though no vital organs were hit, it still hurt like hell. Kakashi yelled in pain as Naruto twisted the blade around, a sadistic smile never leaving his face. You know Kakashi, I think Sakura will be the first person I decide to kill when I destroy the hidden leaf, Naruto smirked, sending a kick into the Junin's chest. The kick threw Kakashi off the edge of the canyon and down onto a root. The landing was hard and painful as a sharp part of root stabbed Kakashi through his shoulder. Pathetic, Naruto said quietly, sheathing his katana in the process. Hinata jumped down from the sky and landed by Naruto, narrowly avoiding a blast of ink sent her way. He's too powerful. Those damn ink creations are limitless, Hinata cursed. Naruto was about to speak, but a huge explosion suddenly sounded off back by their hideout. Sounds like Sakura and Sasori are having one hell of a fight, Naruto commented. What about Gaara's body? Hinata simply shook her head in shame. I'm sorry. It got stolen from me and was placed in a sealing scroll that only he can open, Hinata said quietly. It's alright. At least we got the one tail. We don't necessarily need the host's body, but it is preferred, Naruto said, kissing her cheek lightly. Let's go find Deidara-sama, he said, turning to the woods. No need for that. I'm right here, Deidara said, waving his arm with the one that was still attached. Naruto and Hinata both rolled their eyes. It sounds like Sasori is having a hard time, Deidara said. We should go help him. There's no need for that, Sasori-sama has been killed, Hinata said solemnly. Damn it, Naruto cursed loudly, slamming his fist into a nearby tree. I should have been there to help him. There's nothing you could have done, Naruto, Deidara told him, a little sadness in his voice. He and Sasori had been partners for over 15 years. Losing Sasori was like losing a brother for Deidara. Let's get back to headquarters, Hinata said quietly. But after we retrieve Sasori-sama's body, we can't let them use his body for any reason. Naruto and Deidara nodded before the three of them disappeared. They reappeared at the site of Sasori's battle. They looked around at the battlefield. There were destroyed puppets everywhere, many of which looked like Sasori himself. 100 puppet summoning, Deidara commented. Must have been a hell of a battle for him to use that jutsu. Even after all this time, I still never got to see that attack, Naruto said, lightly chuckling. None of us did, Deidara said. He walked around the battlefield, stopping at a certain puppet. I found the body he used mainly. But there's so many other puppets. Deidara pulled some clay out of his pouch and made a multitude of clay bombs. He threw them up into the air and made a single hand sign. All the bombs moved to the large amount of puppets and began latching themselves onto them. The three of them leapt up onto the ledge of the crater. Such a shame he doesn't get to see my art up close and personal, HN. And he was always complaining about my art, saying his was better. But art is an explosion. Ka, Deidara yelled as the bombs all exploded, destroying the puppets. Let's go home guys, Naruto said as they watched the explosions. They turned and left the scene of the battle. A few hours later they got back their main headquarters. Mission accomplished, Hinata said. Well, for the most part, Naruto shrugged as he walked over to a table and sat down, putting his floor up lazily. Deidara was silent as he went into his room and shut the door. Hinata sat next to Naruto, laying her head on his shoulder. She sighed. What's wrong, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. Sasori-sama is actually gone. I knew one day some of us would die, but it's never when you expect it, she said quietly. I honestly expected the first to go would be Tobi, she chuckled lightly. Naruto laughed to himself. Yeah, I was expecting the same thing, he said. Hey, Naruto-kun? She asked. Yeah? It had been a few days since the battle against Gaara and Team Kakashi from the Hidden Leaf Village, and Naruto was growing impatient at waiting for Pain. Even though Pain was Naruto's teacher, he still didn't like waiting. It was a little trait he had picked up from Sasori. How long are we supposed to wait for? Naruto grumbled for the umpteenth time in the last hour. Would you shut up? Kisame growled, gripping Samahata. Naruto gripped his katana lightly. You know I'm as good a swordsman as you or better, right? Naruto calmly said. I'd like to see you try and beat me, Kisame said, lifting his sword up and pointing it at Naruto. Enough, Kisame. Naruto, Itachi said dangerously, his Sharingan swirling. The two of them glared at him, but stopped nonetheless. Finally Pain and Konan showed up. Pain ignored the glare from Naruto. You're late, Naruto commented. Never mind that. We need to commence with the sealing of the two tails, Pain said. The Akatsuki members present all grinned. Alright, Naruto smirked. All the members there made similar hand signs and fell into a sort of trance state. The hologram versions of themselves appeared in a cave atop the fingers on the same statue that had the one tail sealed inside of it. "Good work Hidan, Kakuzu," Pain said to the only two present members with their actual bodies. Hidan laughed to himself. It was all in the name of Lord Jashin, he smirked. "Whatever. All I need is money and not some stupid religion," Kakuzu said quietly. Hidan shot a glare at his partner. "Shut up. Money can't compare to something as great as Lord Jashin." Hidan yelled. "Let's just get on with the sealing, Deidara said impatiently. "Yes. There is still work to be done," Itachi said. "Then let's commence with the sealing ceremony," Konan said as she and the other members all turned to the statue, making a single hand seal. 9 phantom dragons sealing, Pain said. Instantly, white chakra dragons enveloped the two tails Jinchuriki. They began to draw the chakra away from the Jinchuriki's body. Naruto watched closely, knowing someday that could be him inside the white ball of chakra. But he cared not, his only goal was to destroy the hidden leaf, and that he would succeed in doing. Meanwhile, Squad 10 of the Hidden Leaf was sent out on a mission from the Hokage. They were to investigate sightings of 2 Akatsuki members that fit the descriptions of Kakuzu and Hidan. "Asuma-sensei, do you know anything about them?" Choji asked his sensei. Asuma merely shook his head. "The only thing I know is that they are S-ranked criminals," he said. Shikamaru sighed. "What a drag." Ino glared at him. "If only you weren't so lazy, Shikamaru." Ino sighed as they leapt through the trees to the last known location of the Akatsuki members. It would still be another 3 days before they reached their destination. They had already been traveling for 3 days as it is, and they were all growing impatient and anxious of a possible battle. "Just keep your guard up, you guys. We don't know what to expect, and your combination attacks could be a key factor in this fight," Asuma said as he took a drag on his cigarette. The next 3 days would be long. He sighed inwardly. Time jumped to the day after the sealing ceremony. Deidara and Toby walked along a road, headed to their destination. They decided to stop by a tea house to get something to eat. It had been a day or two since they last had a decent meal. Deidara was annoyed as usual at his new partner. "Senpai," Toby called to Deidara from up ahead. "This place looks delicious." Deidara groaned. He didn't know how much longer he could take the antics that came from his partner. "Whatever, Deidara grumbled as they walked inside. They ordered some food and sat down outside on one of the benches. Just then a thought struck Deidara. He had never seen Toby with his mask off, and eating would be a good time to see what he looked like. Deidara watched as Toby lifted his hand to take off his mask, only to glare as Toby quickly turned and ate his food, not allowing Deidara to see his face. "Wow, this food is amazing, senpai. I had a great idea to stop here and eat, didn't I?" Toby said cheerfully. Yeah, just hurry up so we can go get the 3 tails, Deidara said as he ate his food quickly. "Senpai is all work and no play. You need to lighten up, senpai," Toby said energetically. Deidara growled dangerously, making Toby skitter away quickly. Deidara sighed to himself. "How the hell did I get stuck with him?" he thought to himself. "I can't take much more of his energy." Deidara was interrupted from his thoughts when Toba's orange mask was directly in front of his face. "Senpai, what's wrong?" Toby asked. Deidara sent a kick straight into Toba's gut, sending him flying into the air. "Senpai!" Toby yelled as he flew away into the forest. Deidara grumbled to himself before getting up and leaving to continue on to their target. "Phew, I sure flew a long ways away." "Huh, senpai," Toby said as he emerged from the trees to Deidara's right. His words fell on deaf ears as Deidara trudged on. The lake should be within sight soon, Deidara thought to himself. Sure enough, just minutes after, the lake appeared. "Senpai, there it is," Toby yelled energetically, running up to edge of the lake. He looked around quickly. "Deidara senpai, I don't see it anywhere." Toby turned to Deidara. Suddenly a large turtle with 3 tails rose out of the water, looking directly down at Toby. So it appeared," Deidara said calmly. "Toby, move out of the way," Deidara yelled as he threw a very large amount of clay bombs with both hands. His arm that had been torn off by Kakashi had been reattached by Kakuzu a couple days earlier. The bombs exploded against the giant turtle, causing a large smoke cloud. "This should be fun, Deidara smirked. Toby, start setting up mines everywhere. Right, senpai, Toby yelled as he disappeared into the ground. Alright, let's get things started, Deidara said to himself. Naruto, Hinata, I need the two of you to go help out Hidan and Kakuzu. It seems that they've encountered some enemies, Pain said as Naruto and Hinata came into the main room of the Akatsuki headquarters. Can't they handle themselves? I mean, they are immortal, aren't they? Naruto asked as he sat down across from Pain at the table that was in the main room. Yes, they are, but since they are facing Leaf Shinobi, I figured you'd like to go help them out, Pain replied. This got Naruto and Hinata's attention. Naruto smirked, glancing at his partner. Alright, I've been itching to fight some of our old comrades, Naruto said. Hinata grinned at him. Where are they at, Pain-sama? She asked. They're at a bounty collection agency in the Leaf. It shouldn't take the two of you but an hour or two to get there, Pain said. Then let's go. Naruto stood up and walking towards the door, Hinata following close behind. Once the two of them got out into the sunlight, Hinata turned to him. Are you excited, Naruto-kun? She asked. Naruto's usual foxy grin turned evil. Oh yeah, I wonder who it'll be we face, he pondered as the two of them leapt up into the trees. Mission start, he smirked. The two of them leapt through the trees, not saying a word the entire time. After an hour and a half of traveling, the two of them emerged from the trees just as Hidan's head was cut off. They noticed Squad 10 smirking. That's one down. Only one to, Shikamaru, who was speaking, was cut off by yelling. You fuckers. That fucking hurt. Hidan's head yelled. The entire Squad 10 was shocked to see he was still alive. But how? Choji asked. At this point Naruto and Hinata walked out of the tree line and into the open. It's because that annoying bastard can never die, Naruto said, smirking. According to him, his Lord Jashin gives him immortality for sacrificing people to him, Hinata told them. Hinata? Naruto? Ino gasped. How? Why are you two here? Asuma asked, dropping his cigarette from his mouth. Why? Naruto asked. To make sure these two don't get their asses kicked too badly. Shut up, asshole, Hidan yelled. Kakuzu, get your ass over here and reattach my head to my body. Hurry up, you're an idiot, Hidan. You let your guard down too often, Kakuzu said. Would you two give it a rest already? Hinata said, turning her head slightly to glare at them. Shut up, bitch, Hidan yelled. Naruto growled and ran over to Hidan's head and kicked it hard at Kakuzu. Don't ever call her a bitch again, asshat. Naruto yelled, red chakras swirling around him. Even Hidan knew not to mess with Naruto when he used the Nine Tails chakra. Shadow Possession Jutsu, Shikamaru yelled, his shadow capturing both Hinata and Naruto. Partial Expansion Jutsu, Choji called as both his arms grew to immense size and grabbed Naruto and Hinata. My turn, Ino said. Shadow Clone Jutsu, an exact copy of her appeared next to her. The two Ino clones looked to one another and nodded. Now, they said in unison. Mind Transfer Jutsu. Both of them slumped to the ground, as Naruto and Hinata seemed to go into a trance. Hey, Ino Shika Cho combination complete, Shikamaru smirked. His smirk vanished as Ino awoke, her clone disappearing in a puff of smoke. Arg, she yelled, holding her head. Shikamaru and Choji were thrown back by the sheer force of Naruto's chakra. That's not gonna work, Naruto smirked as he began walking forward. Asuma jumped in front of him. You aren't going any further, Naruto, Asuma said dangerously. Asuma-sensei. It's been a long time, Hinata said calmly. She turned to Naruto. Let's do it, she said. Right. Naruto smirked, disappearing. He reappeared right behind Asuma, sending a kick straight into his back. Asuma went flying towards Hinata's gentle fist strike. Naruto turned and charged towards the other three. He drew his katana and charged it with chakra before swiping at them. The three-leaf Chunin all jumped away from the attack before it could strike. Let's see what the Akatsuki has taught you, Naruto, Shikamaru said. Big mistake, Naruto smirked, his usual purple Rinnegan eyes, turning red but keeping the ripple pattern. Let's go. He charged forward, red chakra enveloping him and forming a fox-like body with three tails around him. Riot by 3 Days Grace begins playing as background music. Shikamaru jumped away as a tail nearly crushed his ribs. Troublesome, he sighed. Shadow Stitching Jutsu. He called as his shadow sped towards Naruto, splitting into multiple shadows and rising from the ground to stab at Naruto. He dodged each shadow. Choji jumped in, his fists an immense size again, and swung them down together at Naruto. Naruto's chakra caught the attack inches before it crushed him. Almighty push. Naruto called as Choji's hands were blasted away. Naruto charged forward, sword aimed to kill. His attack was blocked by Ino as she deflected the blow with a kunai. She was merely knocked away by one of the tails that had formed Naruto's chakra. She screamed as she hit the ground. Ino! Choji yelled at her. While his attention was focused elsewhere, Naruto sent a punch into Choji's face, knocking him into Shikamaru. Never take your eyes off your opponent, Choji, Naruto taunted. Rotation. Naruto heard Hinata yell form across the road. He jumped away and got in front of her as the rotation began to dissipate and Asuma was taking advantage of that to strike her down. Not gonna happen. Naruto smirked, all three of his tails whipping Asuma into the air. Hinata used Naruto as a jumping platform to leap above Asuma and form a couple of hand seals. Drikugen Kekkei Genkei Copy, Gale Style. Divine Wind. She yelled as a blast of wind from her palms sent Asuma back to earth. The force of the impact caused him to bounce off the hard ground. As he flew back up into the air, Naruto sent the Rasengan that had finished forming in his hand straight into Asuma's chest. Rasengan, Naruto yelled. Asuma was blasted away into a tree. Now it's our turn to attack those leaf shinobi, Hidan said as he stepped up next to Naruto, Kakuzu on the other side. Have fun then, Naruto smirked, withdrawing the Nine Tails chakra back into his body. Hidan pulled his scythe off his back and charged at Asuma. You'll be the first sacrifice to Lord Jashin, he yelled, as he swiped at Asuma. Asuma lifted his blades just before the scythe cut him in half. Not yet, Asuma growled, pushing Hidan away. Asuma leapt at him, putting chakra into his blades. They extended from half a foot to 2 feet in a matter of seconds. Let's go freak, Asuma roared as he swung his blades at Hidan's head. I'm not a freak, just a mortal. Hidan cackled, ducking under Asuma's attack and pulling a long slender spike from his cloak. He nicked Asuma's arm with it and leapt back quickly. Hidan began drawing a circle with a triangle in it on the ground. Now let's begin the ritual, he smirked as he licked Asuma's blood off the spike. Suddenly his body turned black with white markings all over. Asuma jumped up. I don't know what that is, but I'm not about to find out, he said making hand seals. He blew out a large cloud of ash from his mouth. Fire style. Burning ash pile, he called as he lit the ash from his mouth. Suddenly the entire ash cloud exploded in flames, the heat so intense everyone there had to shield their faces. Squad 10 smirked to themselves, thinking the battle won. Asuma landed, kneeling on one of his knees. As the smoke cleared, Hidan was revealed. A large portion of his cloak burned off. He seemed to have no injuries whatsoever. Hee, maybe you should let me explain the ritual some, Hidan smirked as he looked at Asuma. Asuma gasped as suddenly his whole body was racked with pain, burn marks appearing on his face and arms. Any damage that is dealt to me will be reflected upon you. So for example, if I stab my leg, Hidan raised his spike and stabbed it through his right thigh. Asuma yelled in pain, clutching his right thigh as blood began to soak his pants. Then you get the attack put on you, Hidan finished explaining, grinning evilly. A smirk never left the other Akatsuki members' faces, even though Kakuzu's face couldn't be seen. Asuma-sensei, Choji yelled. I'm alright Choji, Asuma panted. Hidan laughed maniacally as he lifted the spike up again. Die, he yelled, stabbing himself in the heart. Asuma gasped as the life left his body. No, Shikamaru yelled as Asuma fell back. Damn it, Asuma whispered. I was never able to beat him in a single game of shogi. Asuma smiled to himself, closing his eyes for the last time. Kurenai, I'm sorry, was the last thought that went through his mind before death opened his wings and took his soul with him. Weak, Naruto said, smirking. We can handle the others. Just go back to headquarters. I'm sure Pain has another Jinchuriki that needs to be captured, Hidan said to Naruto and Hinata. They both nodded as they jumped away from the battle. Shikamaru growled as he charged Hidan. Bastard, he yelled, throwing kunai and shuriken in large groups at him. Hidan deflected everything with his scythe. You don't know when to give up, do you? Hidan taunted, pulling the spike from his heart. Then you're gonna die next. He swung the scythe at Shikamaru and stabbed with the spike as he ducked. Shikamaru jumped up and twisted in the air, avoided both attacks. Suddenly 3 newcomers burst out of the tree line. Shikamaru, get back. Let Sakura heal you, the first one said. Kakashi-sensei? Shikamaru asked, stunned at his arrival. We were sent by Lady Hokage as a backup squad. Guess it's a good thing too, Kakashi said. Shikamaru jumped back over to his teammates, now being healed by Sakura. Takumi, I'm gonna need your help, Kakashi said to the third person. He wielded 6 large blades, 3 protruding from the left side of his head and the other 3 on the right. He wore Anbu armor, minus the mask. He had pure white hair that spiked up much like Sasuke's did, only with his bangs covering his left eye. His eyes were a blue-gray that seemed to look straight into your soul. He was slightly shorter than Kakashi but was slightly bulkier than him. Right, Takumi said, drawing 2 of his swords. One lighting up with fire, the other becoming covered in air. Sakura, who's that? Ino asked as the pink-haired Kanuchi healed Squad 10. That's my boyfriend, Takumi. He's a master sword user, Sakura said proudly. He's cute. I'm jealous of you, Sakura, Ino said. Sakura smiled as she finished. I finally beat you in love, Ino. Sakura smiled at her rival and best friend. Choji sniffed quietly. Asuma-sensei. His voice was barely a whisper. Sakura looked at him, and then followed his gaze. She covered her mouth as a gasp escaped her mouth. She had just now noticed Asuma's body lying behind her. She felt so bad for not noticing him when she first arrived. She was so focused on healing her friends at the time and had forgotten to look for their sensei. Kakashi, be careful, Shikamaru yelled. That guy over there can't be killed. And don't let him swallow your blood or he'll kill you. Thanks, Shikamaru, Kakashi said, lifting his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Let's do this, Takumi. Right, Takumi smirked and lifted both his swords above his head. Fire-wind combination. Great blaze, he called as he swept them in front of him at Hidan and Kakuzu. A large blast of fire flew towards the zombie team of the Akatsuki. They both leapt out of the way, Hidan's body going back to normal as he left his ritual circle. I'll take the sword user. Kakuzu, you get the other one, Hidan said as they jumped up. After Hidan landed, he charged towards Takumi, scythe aimed to cut him in half. Takumi blocked with the blade of fire and sent a blast of wind from the other at Hidan, knocking him away. This is gonna be fun, Takumi smirked at Hidan, before sheathing both his blades and drawing 2 different ones. One became covered in ice while the other turned to stone. It's been a while since I've used these 2, his voice held a large amount of confidence. You're pretty, Hidan commented. Let's see if you can back up all that talk. Hidan charged at Takumi, thus beginning their battle. You're Kakashi of the Sharingan, right? Kakuzu asked. You'll fetch me a nice bounty. He tore off his cloak and tossed it away. I have no intention of that ever happening, Kakashi said as he made a couple hand seals. His hand burst into lightning. Lightning blade, Kakashi yelled, charging at Kakuzu faster than the eye could follow. Kakuzu was shocked to see Kakashi appear in front of him. Kakashi had his arm through Kakuzu's chest and protruding from his back. Gotcha, Kakashi said, pulling his arm free and letting Kakuzu slump to the ground. Kakashi turned his back and was about to help Takumi but was stopped by something grabbing his ankles. He turned his head and saw Kakuzu sitting up holding onto him. A smirk never left Kakuzu's face as he lifted Kakashi up and slammed him into the ground. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura yelled as she got up to go help him, but was stopped when Shikamaru grabbed her wrist. Stop, I'm gonna help him. You can't afford to be injured since you're the best medic here, Shikamaru said as he ran towards Kakashi. Are you alright? He asked kneeling down beside Kakashi. Yeah, but I thought I killed him, Kakashi said sitting up and watching Kakuzu closely. Suddenly his back exploded in a mass of something black. 3 large beasts emerged from the black mass, each one wearing a different colored mask. One wore a red mask, another a green one, and the third wore a purplish mask. You only killed one of my hearts, Kakuzu smirked. I have a total of 5 in all. Kakashi and Shikamaru's eyes both widened in shock. Kakashi, I've got a plan to kill one of his hearts. As for the other three, it'll take some time and care. I just hope that Naruto and Hinata don't show back up. Shikamaru said. Did you say Naruto and Hinata? Kakashi asked, his eyes widening more. Shikamaru nodded. Kakashi sighed, closing his eyes. He stood up and glared at Kakuzu. Alright, let's put your plan into action. What do you need me to do? Kakashi asked. Try to get some of his blood for me, Shikamaru said. Kakashi nodded as the two of them charged at Kakuzu. The green-masked creature floated into the air and opened its mouth while the red-masked one opened its mouth. They shot a combination of wind and fire at the two-leaf shinobi. The attacks fused, creating a large wave of fire. Kakashi and Shikamaru dodged in the nick of time. The blast of fire flew towards Takumi. Takumi whipped his stone sword around and stabbed it into the ground. Earth wall, he called. A wall of stone rose up in front of him, blocking the blast of fire. Watch it, Kakashi, he yelled, turning his other sword around to block Hidan's scythe. Sorry, Kakashi said as he jumped away from a lightning attack. Kakashi dashed towards Kakuzu, kunai at the ready. Kakashi swung the blade, it barely nicking Kakuzu's cheek. Bastard, Kakuzu growled, raising his fist at Kakashi. Die, he yelled, bringing his fist down. Kakashi threw the kunai at Shikamaru. Here's Shikamaru, Kakashi yelled as he jumped away from Kakuzu's fist. Shikamaru caught the kunai and pulled out a small metal vial. Thanks, Kakashi, Shikamaru thought as he dripped the blood off into the vial. And now to kill that bastard. Shikamaru glared at Hidan, who was being pushed back by Takumi's sword attacks. Ice style. Sheer cold. Takumi yelled as he sent a blast of ice at Hidan's head. Part of his face was hit by the ice blast. Hidan yelled in pain as his face became frost-bitten. You fucker. That hurt. He yelled as he threw the spike like a spear at Takumi. Shikamaru gritted his teeth as he tossed the vial at the spike. Takumi gasped, trying to jump away from the spike. Damn it. Takumi growled as he felt the spike rub his cheek, a warm liquid going across his cheek as well. A chakra string yanked the spike back to Hidan, his laughing echoing in everyone's ears. He caught his spike and licked the end with the blood on it, his body changing again. Time for you to die, sword wielder. Hidan yelled as he drew the symbol from earlier on the ground. Takumi smirked. I have no intention of dying today. So whatever you're going to do won't work, Takumi said confidently. Hidan smirked. I hardly think so, brat. Hidan stabbed himself in the stomach, laughing as he did so. Now you'll die, he yelled. Takumi gasped, dropping to his knees. Hidan cackled loudly. Sakura gasped. No, she screamed loudly. Takumi watched wide-eyed as his opponent stabbed himself through the gut. Takumi then smirked. I don't know what it was you were planning there, buddy, Takumi said, standing up and sheathing his swords, then drawing out the last two. One became covered in water and the other became covered in mud. But like I said, it won't work. Hidan glared. Stop trying to act tough, asshole, he growled, stabbing himself again, this time through his heart. Kakuzu faltered suddenly in an attack, giving Kakashi a chance to kick him away. Hidan, you bastard, what the hell are you doing? Kakuzu yelled. What are you talking about? Hidan asked, confused. You just stabbed one of my hearts. Kakuzu yelled angrily. Shikamaru sighed quietly. Made it in time, he thought. Water-earth style. Mudslide. Takumi yelled as he swung both sword and a downward arc together. A gigantic mudslide emerged from the tips of the blades and rushed at Hidan. Hidan jumped up and away from the mud, but got his foot caught just before he could get away. Let go of me, asshole. Hidan yelled as the mud suddenly hardened. Not a chance, Takumi smirked. Ino noticed his attitude resembled Sasuke's somewhat. Where did you meet him, Sakura? Ino asked her rival. Anbu Corps. He was one of Tsunade's personal guards until he decided he didn't want to retake the Anbu application and go back to being a Junin, Sakura explained. Lucky. Ino grumbled. We should go help them. Ino stood up and started to move forward. She was stopped by Shikamaru. No, let the two of them handle this. We'll only get in their way, he said. Kakashi had another lightning blade in hand while Takumi had his swords raised in a kenjutsu stance. I was never too good with kenjutsu, honestly. But I'm not too bad with it, Takumi said as he dashed at Hidan. He lifted his sword that was covered in water and swung it at Hidan's head. Hidan blocked with his scythe and lunged at Takumi with his spike. "This time I'll make sure to get your blood." Hidan roared as he broke his foot loose of the mud. Kakashi jumped back away from a lightning attack from Kakuzu only to move into the path of a fire and wind combo attack. Suddenly a wall of water rose up behind him while a wall of earth rose in front of him. "Watch your back, Kakashi," Takumi yelled from where he was standing. "Thanks for that," Kakashi said as he lifted his lightning blade and jumped at the lightning-masked creature. Kakashi moved too fast from behind the wall of earth for Kakuzu to see. Lightning blade struck Terracotta Mask, destroying it completely. Kakuzu growled angrily as the other two creatures jumped up and landed behind Kakuzu. Suddenly his whole body began to morph as a large amount of black tendrils sprang from the confines of his back. The tendrils and creatures morphed together and soon became one large mass. The masks seemed to glare down angrily at Kakashi as they roared. "Did that sound like Kakuzu's masks to you, Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked, stopping on a tree limb suddenly. He turned around to face the direction he and Hinata had been running. "Yes, it did. Hang on, I'll check." "Drikugan," she said as the starbursts appeared in her eyes. "It would seem he's been forced to fuse the masks with himself. He only has 2 hearts left. And that would be because he's facing Kakashi Hitaki. Hidan is facing some other leaf shinobi who I've never seen before." "Kakashi, huh?" Naruto said quietly. "Hinata, let's go back. We may be able to provide some last-minute assistance to Hidan and Kakuzu." He leapt off heading back in the direction they had just come from. "Yes, Naruto-kun," she said following him. "I just hope we don't get there too late," Naruto said quietly, Rinnegan flaring. Kakashi jumped away from a fire-wind attack that came from the masks. Black tendrils swirled around him everywhere he stepped, threatening to capture him and kill him. "I really want your heart, Kakashi Hitaki. You have some pretty useful jutsu that I could use," Kakuzu said, chuckling evilly to himself. "Not gonna happen," Kakashi said dangerously as he made a few hand seals. "Water style. Water dragon jutsu," he called. A large dragon of water erupted from the earth and twirled itself around Kakashi protectively before charging at Kakuzu. Kakuzu sent a blast of wind at the dragon, destroying it in a matter of seconds. The water rained down upon the combatants, Takumi raising his sword above his head. "Water style. Water senbon," he called as the rain soon became senbon that pierced both enemies. "Now water style. Infinite rain," he yelled as he stabbed his sword upward. The sky darkened and soon after rain began to pour from the sky. He glared at Hidan who glared right back. "Your fire attacks are useless now," Kakashi said to Kakuzu. Kakuzu smirked and sent a blast of wind around him and Kakashi then sent a quick fire attack in Kakashi's direction. "There's always a way around such trivial things," he sneered. "Not when you can't use your jutsu anymore. Water style. Water prison jutsu." Takumi yelled as he stuck the water sword in the ground, sheathing his mud-covered sword and drawing the ice sword. Water formed up around both Hidan and Kakuzu. "Freeze!" he yelled swinging the ice sword in front of him. Both water prisons froze in a matter of seconds. "Now to end you," Takumi said as he rushed towards Hidan, sword raised. He struck the ice prison, shattering it, along with Hidan. His body was spread everywhere, with the exception of his still cursing head. "You fucking asshole, I hope you fucking die," Hidan yelled. Takumi merely sneered at the talking head. "You talk too much," he said as he bent down, pulling a scroll from his Junin vest. He grabbed Hidan's head and set it on the paper. "Don't you fucking put me in a storage seal. You worthless piece of shit," Hidan yelled. "Seal," Takumi yelled. Hidan's head disappeared and a sealing formula appeared on the paper. Takumi rolled up the scroll and wrapped a sealing tag around it. He started to make a large amount of hand seals. "Blood seal," Takumi said as the sealing tag lit up for a moment then went back to normal. "Good work, Takumi," Kakashi said. "My pleasure," Takumi bowed slightly, putting the scroll in his jacket. "Now he's all that's left." Kakashi turned back to the ice prison surrounding Kakuzu. "This fight ends here," Kakashi said, charging up his lightning blade. The ice prison began to shake slightly. Kakuzu could be heard chuckling from inside of the prison, making everybody freeze. "You think that this can hold me?" Kakuzu roared as the ice prison suddenly exploded outward. Everybody shielded their eyes from the ice shards. Takumi lifted his swords in a defensive stance and stood in between Kakuzu and the others, Kakashi right beside with his lightning blade ready to strike. Kakuzu strode forward, panting slightly, a sneer plastered to his face. "You fools really know how to piss me off," he said dangerously. "Everyone get back," Takumi yelled at the others. "You ready for this?" he asked Kakashi. "Yeah, let's take this guy down," Kakashi replied before both him and Takumi charged forward. Kakuzu roared as he charged forward as well, both masks opened and charging an attack. A blast of wind and fire shot forward directly at Kakashi and Takumi. Takumi gritted his teeth, stopping himself before dodging. He knew if he dodged, the attack would go straight for Sakura and the others. He jumped in front of Kakashi and lifted his swords. "Water style. Water wall," he called, swinging his water sword in an upward arc. Water rose up and curved away from him to form a protective barrier between him and Kakashi. The attack struck the wall, both attacks canceling. A large amount of steam came from the fire hitting the water wall. Takumi smirked to himself, but it soon vanished when he saw the second attack close in. The attack struck him in the chest, knocking him back by Sakura and the others. Both his swords flew from his hands. One of Kakuzu's hands suddenly burst up from the ground from underneath Kakashi and grabbed his throat. Another hand broke through the ground by Takumi and grabbed his throat. Kakuzu lifted both Leaf Shinobi into the air and began to squeeze the life out of them. "Your hearts are mine," Kakuzu chuckled. "Shinero," Sakura yelled as she ran at Kakuzu, her fist raised. "Sakura, don't," Takumi said through gasps of air. Kakuzu grinned as he sent a fire and wind combo at Sakura. She smirked and jumped forward, twisting to the side of the attack. She got within inches of Kakuzu before bringing her fist down into his face. Her punch knocked him back into the trees, his grip on Kakashi and Takumi releasing as he went flying. Kakashi and Takumi both fell to the ground, landing roughly. Most of their energy gone from the fight and nearly losing consciousness from Kakuzu's iron grip just now. Takumi coughed a bit as he sat up. "Bastard," he coughed, rubbing his throat. "Kakashi-sensei, are you alright?" Sakura asked as Kakashi sat up. "Yeah, I'm alright, Sakura," Kakashi said, coughing a bit. She nodded and rushed over to Takumi, hugging him tightly. "You baka," she whispered. "How stupid are you? Stupid enough to make you worry about me," Takumi said, laughing slightly. "Jerk," she said, smiling slightly before standing up. "Now it's my turn to fight," she said, pulling her glove up her hand more and clenching her fist. Sakura picked up Takumi's swords from where they were laying and set them both on her shoulders. "I'm gonna borrow these for a few moments," Sakura told Takumi. "Sakura, wait, you can't handle him alone," Takumi said, trying to reason with her. "I'll be fine. I still have almost all my chakra and you're worn out. He's almost defeated anyway. Just rest for now," she said, turning her head and winking at Takumi. Takumi opened his mouth to say something else but shut it and just nodded, knowing he wouldn't be able to get any reason through her head at that moment. Kakuzu clambered from the tree he had crashed into and grinned when he saw just Sakura standing there as his opponent. "So you're going to be my opponent? Easy win," Kakuzu chuckled before dashing forward. Sakura smirked as she held both swords together and swung them in front of her. "Water style. Water slicer. And then ice style. Hailstorm," she called as a couple blades of water and a large mass of ice shards went flying towards Kakuzu. The fire mask opened up and blew out a large fireball from its mouth. The attacks cancelled each other out and Kakuzu charged forward once they were gone completely. He raised his fist to strike Sakura down, but she blocked with the ice sword. As soon as Kakuzu's fist touched the sword, it began freezing. He quickly withdrew his arm before the ice could crawl any further up his hand. Sakura smirked and she swung the ice sword at Kakuzu, who jumped away, some of the tendrils getting caught in the attack. The tendrils that got hit froze in the place where the blade hit. "That's annoying," Kakuzu said, looking at the tendrils. He lifted his fist that was frozen and was about to strike the ground but stopped when he heard Sakura chuckling. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," she said. "Otherwise, you'll destroy your hand completely." Kakuzu glared as he lowered his fist. "Fine, then I'll just melt the ice off," he said, raising his fist above the fire mask. It opened and blew a small flame out. The fire began melting the ice and, to Kakuzu's amazement, his hand as well. He quickly pulled his hand away and held it protectively. Oh, I forgot to mention, fire won't work either. Sakura grinned as she dashed forward, holding both swords out to stab. You bitch! Kakuzu roared as both masks opened up and shot another wind and fire combination at Sakura. She brought her blades up and crossed them in front of her to block the attack. The fire hissed as it struck the water blade. After recovering, Sakura began to run forward again, dodging more fire attacks from Kakuzu. She lifted the ice sword in a stabbing position and stabbed it towards the fire mask. Ice style. Piercing lance. She called as a lance of ice flew from the tip of the sword. It went straight for the mask at speeds almost rivaling the yellow flash's flying Raijin. The lance pierced through the mask and out the back, stabbing into the ground. The terracotta mask of fire burst into shards as the lance exited from the back of it. Kakuzu roared as yet another one of his hearts was destroyed. Sakura smirked. One left and you're gone for, she said confidently. It won't be that easy, bitch. Kakuzu roared as he began charging up a large wind attack. Stop calling her that. Takumi roared as he suddenly appeared next to Sakura, his wind sword and fire sword drawn. Why should I? Kakuzu asked as he sent the blast of wind at Takumi and Sakura. Takumi sent his own blast of wind to meet the attack, but it was knocked away by the sheer force of Kakuzu's attack. He grabbed Sakura by the waist and jumped away from the attack just as it flew past. Damn, that was powerful, Takumi murmured as he landed. Looks like we're gonna have to use that. Sakura turned to him. Are you serious? She asked, her voice was filled with shock. Oh yeah, Takumi nodded. He drew the other two swords, handing one to Sakura. Remember the order they go in? He asked. Why yes, Sakura said quickly. Fire, water, ice, stone, earth, wind, right? Yep, Takumi confirmed. He turned his head to Kakashi. Can you keep him busy for a few moments? Kakashi nodded. I won't be able to give you but a few moments though. My chakra is nearly out, he said as he walked up beside Takumi. A few moments is all we need, Takumi said. Now go. Kakashi nodded and dashed forward, kunai drawn. He engaged Kakuzu in a close-range battle, making sure all his focus was on Kakashi. Takumi nodded. Place the fire sword there, Sakura. Takumi pointed to where she was standing. Right, Sakura said as she lifted the sword and stabbed it into the ground. She made a few hand seals, ending on the tiger hand seal. The sword began to glow orange once she was finished. She jumped away to another place and stabbed the water sword into the ground. She made the same hand seals she made for the fire sword, except for the last one. She ended the seals with the ram seal before moving to the next point where she stabbed the ice sword into the ground. She once again made the same set of hand seals but finished with dog this time. Takumi, go, she yelled as she made the last hand seal. Got it, Takumi nodded as he began doing the same thing. For each sword he made the same set of hand seals Sakura made, except for the final seal. Stone ended with ox, earth ended with snake, and air ended with boar. Kakashi move, Takumi yelled as he finished the last seal. Kakashi jumped out of the ring of swords. Suddenly from each sword a glowing line of chakra reached for the other swords. A 6-point star was created in the center of the ring, with Kakuzu in the direct center on it. Draw 6 dots in a hexagon and connect each point to the others once. And you'll get the picture here. Takumi and Sakura began making hand seals together. 6-sided elemental seal, they called in unison. Destruction. Suddenly the light from the sword converged on Kakuzu. He tried to jump away from the light but was frozen in place from ice covering his feet. Suddenly his arms felt very heavy. He looked down and saw that they had turned to stone. For the first time since this battle had started, he felt fear, an emotion he hadn't felt in a long time. A ball of water covered his head, taking his air away from him. His legs were covered in a thick layer of air that felt like it was crushing them. His torso burst into flames and soon spread across his entire body. In a matter of seconds, the flames disappeared along with the rest of the elements. Kakuzu was a charred mass of flesh now. He panted heavily. I'm going to kill you all, he said through gasps. The mask opened slowly and began to charge up a large amount of chakra. Not likely, Takumi and Sakura said together as they made one more hand seal, the seal for snake. Suddenly the earth around Kakuzu rose up in pillars. Just before they closed completely on Kakuzu, he sent the wind attack from the mask. It barely escaped the pillars of earth before they crushed Kakuzu and the mask, shattering them both into thousands of pieces. Takumi and Sakura both slumped to the ground, exhausted. They watched in horror as the wind attack sped towards them, closing their eyes in anticipation of the impending ending. They waited for what felt like eternity, but never felt the blow land. They opened their eyes and saw Choji standing in front of them in his massive size. Made it in time, he panted, before going back down to his normal size and collapsing forward. His face and body were covered in deep cuts from the wind attack. "Choji!" Ino yelled, rushing over to him. She began some basic medical jutsu on him to stop the bleeding from his wounds. "Let's hurry and get out of here," Takumi said, taking some soldier pills out of his weapons pouch. He handed one to everybody there. "I can sense 2 strong chakra signatures heading this way. And fast." He munched on the pill as the others did the same. "Right, let's go," Kakashi said as he lifted Asuma's body from where it lay. "Sorry old friend," Kakashi thought as he looked down. Takumi collected his swords before helping Shikamaru heft Choji up off the ground. Ino and Sakura supported each other as they all left. Sakura couldn't help but look back one last time at the battlefield. She thought she saw Naruto and Hinata emerge from the trees, but she shook it off and continued onward. In fact, she wasn't wrong. They had emerged from the trees just after the Leaf Shinobi left the battlefield. Naruto and Hinata looked around. "Damn it," Naruto cursed. "We were too late." He smashed his fist into the ground. "Naruto-kun, they are heading back towards the Leaf Village if you want to pursue them," Hinata said. Suddenly Pain appeared in front of them. "Leave the Leaf Shinobi alone for now. We have located the Six Tails Jinchuriki. His name is Yukataki. We need you to go get him." Naruto growled as he stood up. "Send somebody else to go get him. I can start taking my revenge on the Leaf right now," Naruto yelled. Pain lifted his hand up. "Right now, we need the Jinchuriki. You two are the only team left. We just got word from Tobi that Deidara has been killed by Sasuke Uchiha. And he's heading for Itachi right now at one of the Uchiha's old hideouts." "Sasuke? He killed Deidara?" Hinata asked, shocked. Pain merely nodded. "That bastard," Naruto said under his breath. "Fine, we'll go get the Six Tails. But after that, we are going to the Hidden Leaf Village to destroy it." "Good," Pain nodded. "I'm going to be sending Tobi with the two of you on this mission." Both Hinata and Naruto sweat dropped. "Seriously? Send him with Zetsu," Naruto said. "The bastard's annoying as hell." "Yes he is. But Zetsu is busy right now," Pain said. "And Kisame is going with Itachi to make sure that only Sasuke and him battle with no interferences. As for me and Konan, we are preparing to face Jiraiya sensei soon." Naruto's ears perked up at the name of his old sensei. "Jiraiya, huh? Give him a message from me, will ya? Tell him that I'm going to kill his precious Tsunade and there's nothing he will ever be able to do about it." Naruto grinned evilly. Pain nodded. "The Jinchuriki is in the land of rice paddies. Go there now," Pain said, and with that he disappeared. "Let's go, Hinata-chan," Naruto said before walking down the road with Hinata right beside him. "Calm down, Naruto-kun. You're too tense," Hinata said as she grabbed Naruto's hand. Naruto realized every muscle in his body was tense, and at feeling Hinata's touch he relaxed. "Thank you, Hinata-chan. I'm just anxious to get to the Leaf Village and finally destroy it," Naruto said quietly. "I know, Naruto-kun. And we will. Let's just get the Six Tails for now," Hinata said, squeezing Naruto's hand lightly. Naruto smiled at her. "Alright then. The Six Tails specializes in water-style ninjutsu, so it may be a pain in the ass to fight him. I'm not that great with lightning style as I am with the others," Naruto said to her. "I'm sure it'll be fine. If you use the Nine Tails chakra you should be able to defeat him quickly enough," Hinata said. "True enough," he said, thus ending conversation. The two of them jumped up into the trees and towards the land of rice paddies. The trip took them a few days, but sure enough they arrived. They put the straw hats that they carried on and walked into a town, heading for a tea shop. They walked in and sat down, ordering a couple cups of tea, and began to listen to everybody talking amongst themselves. "How's the harvest going? What wonderful weather we are having today. Did you hear about that new person in town?" Naruto shifted in his seat, listening to the last conversation closer. "Yeah, what about him?" the second person asked. I hear he's been hanging around the young lady's home lately, the first said. I'm sure her parents would be furious if they were still around, a third person said. Yes, but that Yukitake sure helps her out and she looks up to him like an older brother, the first said. Naruto and Hinata shared a quick glance at each other. They felt the table shift to the side slightly. Naruto and Hinata jumped slightly when they saw Tobi sitting there. Tobi, Naruto said. Yep, I am here, Tobi said, energetic as always. You're a loud mouth, Tobi, Naruto said, standing up and placing the money for the tea on the table. Let's go. We have a Jinchuriki to capture. Hinata stood up and followed Naruto out, followed closely by Tobi. So where are we going, Naruto-kun? Tobi said. Naruto groaned at the honorific Tobi added to his name. How many times have I told you not to say my name with the honorific? Naruto said dangerously under his voice. Tobi skittered away at Naruto's voice and covered his head protectively. You're not gonna hit me like Deidara-senpai, are you? Tobi asked quickly. I might before this day is over, Naruto grumbled. Let's just find the Jinchuriki and get it sealed, Hinata said sternly, silencing the both of them. They both knew all too well not to talk back to Hinata when they were on a mission with her, it could mean bad news. Right, Naruto said quietly. Tobi, you're going to lay landmines that will only activate from his chakra hitting the ground. Hinata, I need you to watch his chakra and communicate with me through the necklace to tell me what he's planning. I'll enter tailed beast mode to fight him. Quote. Hinata and Tobi nodded as they walked. I'll search for the chakra signature of the 6 tails, Hinata said, activating her Drakugan. She was quiet for a moment and then deactivated her eyes. He's about 6 miles south of town. He's with a girl as well. She may be a bit of a problem, but I'm sure we can get her away with ease. You know, use Tobi to get her away with that ability of his. Alright, let's go, Naruto said, jumping up into the trees. Tobi and Hinata followed suit silently. The trio leapt through the trees in silence to their destination. We're here, Naruto said as he landed on a tree branch. He looked out into a field and saw a man wearing a light blue kimono blowing bubbles out of a pipe. A blonde girl, not much older than Hinata, was practicing ninjutsu in front of him. Is that him? Naruto asked Hinata. Yes it is, she said. She looked at Tobi. Can you get the girl out of here, Tobi? She'll only get in our way. On it, Tobi said, disappearing into the tree. The two of them looked out into the field and watched as Tobi appeared behind the girl. Ohio, Tobi said energetically as he grabbed the girl's waist and disappeared into the ground. She screamed as she disappeared into the ground. Yukitake jumped up and rushed over to where she was standing. Time to go to work, Naruto said before bursting through the trees and dashing towards Yukitake. Who the hell are you? Yukitake asked. He jumped up and blew a rather large bubble out of his pipe and towards Naruto. I don't know what that is, Naruto said as he jumped away from the bubble. But I don't like it. Suddenly Naruto became surrounded in a translucent red chakra that slowly darkened. 6 tails appeared behind Naruto and an exoskeleton of bone appeared around him. Let's see what you can do, 6 tails Jinchuriki. Naruto growled demonically. An animal I have become by 3 days grace begins playing. Yukitake seemed unfazed by the change in Naruto, as he slowly transformed into a giant slug with 6 tails behind it. You think you releasing only 6 tails from you tailed beast is supposed to scare me? Yukitake said through the 6 tails voice. He blew a large amount of bubbles from his mouth at Naruto. Naruto let loose a massive roar that destroyed the bubbles in an instant. Suddenly Naruto dashed forward and grabbed a hold of on the tails and swung Yukitake around and slammed him into the ground. Yukitake recovered quickly before Naruto could deliver another attack. Yukitake began shooting much smaller and faster bubbles from his mouth at Naruto. Naruto dodged a majority of them. Be careful, Naruto-kun. I can sense him about to use a massive attack. It looks like a tailed beast ball, Hinata said in Naruto's mind suddenly. Thanks, Naruto replied as he jumped back quickly. Naruto began charging up his own attack as red and blue orbs of chakra emerged from Naruto's body. They slowly fused together to create a massive ball of black chakra. The ball began shrinking down in front of Naruto's mouth until it was barely the size of a tennis ball. Naruto opened his mouth and swallowed the ball, the weight causing him to fall to the ground. Yukitake seemed to glare at Naruto before he fired his tailed beast ball at Naruto. Naruto fired his just after Yukitaki's. The two attacks flew towards each other faster than the eye could see. They met in a matter of seconds and a massive explosion occurred. Both Naruto and Yukitaki jumped back from the blast. Tobi, who had just popped up from under the ground to tell Naruto that the mines were all set, quickly dove back underground. Unfortunately for him, he got caught in the shockwave and was sent flying into the trees past Hinata, who didn't move from where she was sitting. Once the blast cleared away and only smoke was left, Naruto dashed forward. "Hinata, where is he?" Naruto asked in his mind. "To your left. He's got another tailed beast ball prepared already," Hinata replied. Naruto turned to his left and emerged from the smoke in front of Yukitaki, who had just finished charging up the tailed beast ball. Naruto jumped up and swallowed the ball just before Yukitaki could swallow it himself. Without warning, Naruto shot the attack right into Yukitaki's chest, the force of the attack sending him back. Then to add to the damage, it exploded, thus knocking him further away. Yukitaki landed in the minefield that Tobi had just finished setting up moments before. The mines, sensing Yukitaki's chakra's signature, began to explode around him. Every blast knocked Yukitaki into another set of mines, before finally sending him away from the minefield entirely. The six tails form began to fade away and back into Yukitaki. Naruto walked forward as his own chakra began receding back into him. Naruto smirked down at Yukitaki's near-lifeless body. "I thought you'd be more of a challenge, Six Tails Jinchuriki," Naruto said. Yukitaki looked up and tried to whisper something, but it fell on deaf ears. His vision began to fade and soon unconsciousness took over his body. Naruto hefted his body up onto his shoulder. "Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan," Tobi yelled energetically as he emerged from the trees. "I just got word that Zetsu successfully captured the Seven Tails Jinchuriki. Let's hurry and seal them both." Naruto and Hinata nodded before dashing off towards one of their bases in the land of rice paddies. Once they arrived, Naruto dropped Yukitaki on the ground in front of the statue before jumping up onto one of the fingers and waiting. Hinata jumped up onto the finger next to him while Tobi stood on the one next to Hinata. Zetsu appeared from the ground and set the Seven Tails Jinchuriki beside Yukitaki. He jumped up onto another finger. A hologram of Pain, Konan, and Kisame appeared on three other fingers. "So does this mean that Sasuke killed Itachi?" Naruto asked. Pain nodded. "Yes, Itachi is dead. We are the only ones left. But we were able to recruit Sasuke to join the Akatsuki and go after the Eight Tails Jinchuriki." "Are you sure that was a wise idea, Pain-sama?" Naruto asked. "It wouldn't be my first choice, but we need him to go after the Eight Tails while we go to the Leaf. We also need to retrieve Hidan's head from them. He knows things that they would want. So while we go to the Leaf, Sasuke and his team can get the Eight Tails for us," Pain said as he began the sealing ritual. 9 Phantom Dragons sealing. It took the 7 of them a week to seal both tailed beasts and another week to recover completely from the sealing. The 9 Phantom Dragons sealing was a very taxing jutsu on the users. The only person who could have probably used it by himself and not felt the effects from the jutsu would have probably been Madara Uchiha, but he was thought to have been killed long ago at the Valley of the End. Naruto was pacing in his room after he had woken that morning. He had learned of Jiraiya's death during the sealing ceremony, so he was anxious to go to the Leaf. With Jiraiya gone, that would mean one less threat against him and Hinata when they went to destroy the hidden Leaf. Hinata stood up and placed her hand on Naruto's shoulder, ceasing his pacing. "Why are you so anxious, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked. "We'll be able to fulfill our goals soon. We just need to wait a little longer." Naruto looked at her. "I know, but I want to act now." "Everyone has recovered already," Naruto said as calmly as he could. Pain lost one of him when facing Jiraiya and they had to get another body to use, Hinata said as she sat Naruto down, kissing his cheek softly. "It'll still be another day or two before they arrive here, so why don't you relax and come to bed?" Hinata whispered in his ear, licking it lightly. Naruto shivered at her touch. He turned to her, his eyes full of lust for her. Hinata grinned seductively as she led her lover over to the bed before pushing him down. She straddled his waist and placed her hands on his chest, slowly sliding them down his stomach. Naruto watched her closely as she leaned down and began kissing his neck. Naruto ran his hand through Hinata's hair and down her back to her waist. He slid my hands up under her mesh armor and lifted it up and over her head. Naruto leaned up and kissed her neck softly, before rolling over and pinning her arms above her head. She wrapped her legs around his waist as he leaned down and lightly bit her collarbone. She shifted her body into his as he bit the part of her body that really drove her crazy. Naruto knew this all too well as he continued to nibble on the area, teasing Hinata more and more by the second. Hinata leaned up to his ear and bit it playfully. "Take me, Naruto-kun," she whispered. "Make me feel alive." Without having to be told twice, Naruto quickly undressed her completely before leaning down to her ear. "I love you, Hinata-chan," he whispered before beginning their love-making. 2 days passed and Pain finally arrived with Konan and 5 others. Each one had chakra rods that looked like piercings in their faces and ears. They all also had the Rinnegan showing proudly. Naruto and Hinata stood in front of them. "Let's go to the Leaf Village and destroy it," Pain said. Naruto and Hinata smirked, nodding in unison. "Now our goal will be complete," Naruto and Hinata thought in unison. The 9 of them all leapt off in the direction of the Leaf Village to begin its destruction. Naruto and Hinata had a determined look in their eyes as they traveled. The trip took them about 6 hours to make, but make it they did. Pain turned to everyone there. "I'm going to send the summoner in first. That way the leaf will only think that there is one person attacking. Once inside, summon all of us to your location. At that point, we will begin the attack," Pain said. Naruto and Hinata shifted anxiously from foot to foot. One of Pain's bodies picked up one of the other bodies and threw it into the air over the leaf's wall. She landed on a rooftop and made a couple hand seals. "Summoning jutsu," she called. In a large puff of smoke, the other 8 members appeared in front of her. "Now let this place know Pain for what it truly is," Pain said as they all leapt away in different directions. A smirk never left Naruto and Hinata's faces as they commenced the attack. Finally the Leaf Village would be destroyed. Finally their goal would be accomplished. Finally they would have what they had sought when they first joined the Akatsuki: revenge.